Yo, hey. This is the my second episode for I Am What I Am. First one on Riverside FM. Just gonna wait for my friend to join. I have two cameras. One's on this side, and one's over here. Better, hold up. Yeah, so these podcasts are supposed to bring light to the idea of coming out as a gay man or anybody in LGBTQ community. So yeah, whoever watches this, hopefully you enjoy it, and yeah, people will be telling their own stories and stuff on how they became the person that they are today, and there'll be some questions asked as well. Yeah, I think I guess with this, it was just some idea that I brought up to a friend of mine from work, and yeah, I didn't think like I'd actually pursue it, and we have, so yeah. Hopefully it comes. I think. Recording in progress. Hello,
Howdy, stranger. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. Is it a day off for you today?
Kind of, although it's raining here,
Yeah.
and I had all this stuff I wanted to do outside.
Ah,
Typical.
yeah. I went for a swim today at the beach at Eastern Beach.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It was nice and warm, but like, yeah, I felt like I needed it. You need those swims sometimes.
I'm really thankful to be in the Bay of Plenty because it is, um, I find the water to be really like grounding,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
really
yeah.
close to it. And like on Monday, I went for a walk around the mount, and then at the end, I was like, I'm so hot and the water looks so good, so I just went for a swim in the harbour. It was great.
Yeah, I did this. I remember doing that. I walked up the mall one time, and I was like, "It's super hot. It's summer, so I'm just gonna run to the beach,
Absolutely.
jump in with all my clothes on, and then yeah, drove home. Then straight after that, and it was good. It keep it gets you like, um, yeah, just
It-
ready for the
It's
next.
re-energizing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's for sure.
yeah. So I've already done like the intro for this. the podcast is like I Am What I Am. Like it's from that song from
Yep.
Jason.
Gloria Gaynor?
Yeah, Jason's drag performance that was on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, it sounds like a cool idea. I ended up, me and a friend of mine from work, we are just like talking about not becoming famous on like social media, but just kind of getting it out there. The idea of people coming out and all that stuff on TikTok. I found, and then I did my first episode, I think it was last week or the week before, with a friend of mine from Aussie. Which is a 2-part for him because he only had like an hour slot before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have as much time as you need to like just talk. Let it all out.
Fair enough. That's okay. No worries. Well, you drive the dialogue, and I will just rabbit away until it gets to the point of needing a next question.
Yeah. I would care to introduce yourself first, really, and what you do for life work or life.
Life. So I'm Matt Holster. I am.
Oh yeah, this is the cat. My kid cat.
Hello! Oh my god, what's your cat's name?
Kimochi.
Oh, Tomochi?
Kimochi. Like,
oh.
Look at her, she's a nosy little cat.
Hello!
Oh
so cute. Oh my god. Next time I'm up, I need to come and say hi to you guys and your cat.
Yeah, definitely.
Where was I? Alright, I'm Matt Holster. I am based in the beautiful Bay of Plenty in Tauranga. I am born and bred in Auckland, so yes, I am a Jaffa, just another friendly Aucklander.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old.
40?
Yeah.
What? You don't look 40.
There's lots of preservative. There's nothing injected or inserted. There's just lots of preservative, i.e. alcohol.
Fair enough.
Oh, actually, and using when I was 36, I went to my GP and said I want to start using tretinoin, which is like prescription retinoids, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah,
it's like a gold standard and closest thing to a miracle in skincare.
Yeah.
That's long running, so I'm so happy. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I'm 40.
Yeah.
In terms of my day-to-day, I am currently not working, but using that time to help look after my mum a bit and to build gardens and make her house a bit better for her retirement down here in the Bay, which is fun. I used to work for the Ministry of Justice, working in the family court, specialising in the most fun parts of life, like domestic violence and warrants to uplift children. So I'm glad to be away from that, but I'm also very, very proud of the work that I did there as well, because we did some amazing things. It just meant seeing some of New Zealand's not so nice stories far too often.
I deal with that now, so.
Yeah.
Me working in YJ or Youth Justice, I see what you used to deal with.
Yeah, I think you guys get the downstream stuff a little bit more, because my team specialised in the ex parte warrants, so we would get we need an action right now. We need an order before the parents have a right to respond, because the safety comes first. So we were at the pointy end of the social issues that our country faces. Yeah, not the nicest, but still an essential thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I think our place just deals with the ones that do ram raids and aggravated robberies and all that stuff. So,
well,
but the kids
what else do kids do these days? They don't go outside anymore.
Horse riding stuff. But yeah.
What else? I tend to travel a fair bit, so I head up to Auckland I head down to Christchurch quite often. I also like to keep involved with the queer scene in both Auckland and Christchurch and
Yeah.
across country with the New Zealand Bears, as I am a title holder for Mr. New Zealand Bear 2019. And 2019 will always be my year because that is my year. Other
Yeah, yeah,
people get their own years. Also, former years are not replaced. They are not taken over. There's just someone new to represent a new year. So to all these people who are like, give up your sash, stop wearing it. Fuck off. Actually, it is mine.
That's
And until you have your own sash, don't come for me. So I'm very, very proud to be part of that community. When I won my title, I definitely took it on myself to travel around New Zealand and to try to get to as many Pride events as I could to be able to meet people from the community I was representing.
Yeah.
And I think I did a really great job in doing that, and I managed to create some great alliances and connections across the motu, which was fantastic.
What's that the bears thing? Do they do like, you know how with pageants, like the same person comes back and then tries to like go for the sash again? Does it work like that, or do they just give it to?
No,
Or does anybody get to have a chance?
I think anyone can enter. I don't think it's a thing that you tend to do where people that have won previously would try to win again. And in a way, I think personally, it kind of devalues your original win if you're then trying to win for others, and it limits the opportunity for new people to engage with the community.
True.
So it's not really done. I have seen people enter multiple times, which is brilliant and perfect and amazing to have that enthusiasm. And also, like, sometimes you'll just have like years and you're like, this person is amazing, and then you look at the year that's presenting, you're like, oh shit, everyone this year is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everyone that enters is always phenomenal. However, there are some years when the pack is a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Equally, and then there are other years when the pack is, you're like, okay, there's a clear front runner or front runners. But yeah, there've definitely been some years I'm like, oh fuck, you're so good. But and then it ends up being neck and neck. Yeah. And in the end, there's only one. But that definitely doesn't mean a loss. And like, it takes a lot of guts to get up there and do it.
Yeah, true. Does the person that won the year before, do they hand over like a sash or whatever?
Yeah. So a new sash will be made. Generally, each year when there is a competition, there will be a new sash made to give to the winner. Some organisations just have a sash that they actually hand over from entrant to entrant.
Oh, okay.
Personally, I don't really agree with that, because part of that kind of sash culture is each person has their own. It also means that they can go around the world and partake in other events for the community with their title and go, this is who I am. So I'm in support of organisations having events, fantastic, but I do think if you're having an event, do it in a way that someone who's won a trophy / title actually gets to have something to take for themselves from that, not just the experience. Like, part of the experience is being able to go to other places and to wear your sash and be able to go, look, oh, you're blah, 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 Mr. blah, blah, blah. That's part of the experience of being a title holder. Like, I've been to so many other events around the world, actually, where people go, oh, hi, you're from New Zealand, oh, blah, blah. Yeah. But if you have to hand over your sash at the end of each year to the next title holder, you don't get to have that experience. And I think that takes away from it a little bit.
You got used just for that year and then hand it over to the next. No.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, like, why don't they like custom make a, so like if you won, like they'll give it to you, but then you can say, oh, I want this and this on it, and then like they make it for you afterwards. But then like
it's been made afterwards, and you don't really have anything to present on the night.
Yeah.
And I think
like if you get it given to you, and then you're like, But then you can also do it yourself. You could make it like yours.
Like pimp my sash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I think there's something also about the kind of like the promotion of it. Like when you have the event on the evening, there'll be photos of the sash that's going to be awarded,
Mm,
and often they take a long time to make. They
yeah.
take a lot of effort and costs, and they are intricate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having the night itself with all the photos and all that kind of like hype that's built up around it, if you then go and give someone else something different, then you don't really get that recognition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially downstream from that when you've won the competition and then you're gearing up to be able to compete, especially for Australasian competitions like Southern Hibernation, which is held in Melbourne by
Yeah.
Victoria Bears. It helps you drive that engagement a little bit more rather than going, oh, that was the placeholder sash, and now I've got my actual sash.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, very
So
good. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so I do stuff for the beers.
Mm-hmm.
Although not as much as I'd like to because I'm here in Tauranga and working remotely. I
Yeah,
used to help out Christchurch Pride a lot with their fundraising for their bingo events,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is fantastic. They have a 2-week Pride calendar series,
Yeah,
which is always a lot of fun, and I've been part of that since I went down in 2019 as part of my SASH tour.
yeah,
And I went down there and loved it so much I even extended my stay by a week so I could experience it all. Um, yeah,
yeah.
like Pride
What,
stuff
what,
across the country is great.
what do you reckon about Christchurch's month pride?
They
Like,
have a month?
I think no. Jill was saying that they have done it over a whole month now instead of like the 2 weeks. I was like,
Oh, that's
gee.
right. Yeah, the schedule has changed. Yeah, I think that for a region like Christchurch,
Mm,
the while the engagement from the community is great,
mm-hmm.
stretching out a Pride series over a month, I don't think they have enough groups and activities to actually fully sustain a calendar that
Yeah,
is full, and you dilute the experience of a Pride period
yeah,
by having events that, if anything, you're clobbering together random things that won't get engagement.
mm,
You won't have people showing up and you won't be able to drive that hype that you can generate through something that's a lot more concentrated. And
mm-hmm.
even something like the simple act of printing out a schedule and going, okay, here are all these events in a concentrated 2-week plan. I can't make it to everything, but I'm going to be like circling which ones I can, and
Mm,
getting that sense of excitement
yeah,
is a lot easier. And also, let's consider and respect the fact that people have work and
yeah,
lives that they also need to manage and curate, and asking for them to like give up so much time schedule across that period, whereas it's easier to say, hey, look, for 2 weeks
yeah.
I'm going to be unavailable in the evenings because I'm going to be doing Pride stuff. um, it's just, I think it's stretching far too thin.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-week period in itself, I acknowledge, is a massive drain anyway.
Yeah,
Asking people for an organising body, asking their team to be available for a whole month,
mm,
even while they'll be fully capable of doing that and keeping up, I
yeah,
think is still stretching far too thin. And again, you want engagement.
yeah,
Even Auckland, like, sure, Auckland is a massive region. It's able to do a Pride Month, but even that, people get like not overwhelmed, but I think they just get jaded by going, oh great, there's a whole month of events. Like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna flick to the end of the schedule and see what the important big ones are. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or it gets
why?
overshadowed by Disney's church and all that stuff. That
Yeah, well, they can just fuck right off. I was there last year when they stormed the Christchurch library during Drag Queen story time,
yeah, yeah,
and we, thankfully, because that event was held in such a large and capable facility, families were shielded when they came in. They were able to have a brilliant event with the Queen's hosting, and because of the capacity and the way it's built, we were able to exit families out at the point that protesters had breached the library and were trying to storm it. So luckily, there weren't any families and there weren't any children in the library when people finally barged their way in. but that's only because of the way that that facility is designed and secured. And it is one thing I do worry. I'd seen in the current schedule that they're having it at the New Brighton Library, which from my memory is quite small.
Yeah.
And in terms of facility size and capability to maintain security, I do have strong concerns that it'll be quite easy to get a Destiny Church group big enough to wrap around the entire venue.
Yeah.
Therefore, no exit will be safe, and there'll be far less capability to keep Whānau and Tamariki secure. And that's something that is of major concern to me. And I really strongly hope, with all of my heart, that both Pride and the Christchurch City Council have got everything in their capability to ensure
Yeah.
that safety.
Yeah. Like me and Jason are going down for the opening party.
Oh, awesome.
The Friday drinks on the 13th, which is like 2 weeks away. So,
Yeah.
and like his purpose to go there is just because he's got that City to Surf thing to go to. Like it's
Yeah.
just the once they've done it like 3 times already.
Yeah.
So yeah, his sister and his niece are gonna run, and so is Jason.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, I didn't anticipate him participating anyway, so I was just like, oh, I can pick these up. I can wait at the beach or something. I don't know.
Perfect. You could be the one that like is at the end, like doing all the photos and the cheering and throwing cups of water.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend. I do worry about like some of the events they might get like rushed by Destiny's Church, but then there also is like a church group that have like a lot of queer people that have joined with it.
Yeah, I went to one of the events last year and it was held. I can't remember the name of the church. I'm sorry, but it was one of the ones that they hosted like a dinner. It was a potluck. They hosted a potluck dinner, and it was fun. Like there's probably maybe like 20, 30 people that showed up. It wasn't the biggest event, but it was just really, really lovely. Like I'm not a religious person.
Yeah.
I think church buildings, like churchy church buildings, are really quite beautiful, and this is kind of more of that traditional style churchy church. It was really, really lovely to be invited into a sacred space.
Yeah.
To be able to have such a wonderful kind of community gathering without that sense of hatred and persecution, and that's something really great. And also, I will always be the first, and I'm known to use the phrase to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Just a point, to give credit where it's due. Churches bring a lot of peace and solace and community to people, and I think it's unfair to the large population of those that are part of the religious communities across the country that it's really only like 5% of the people that are actually crazy and hating on people. Everyone else is just at church for just like love and praise and reflection and community and all those good things that churches are meant to, a church and religion is meant to really be for. Not this fire-fueled evangelical hatred. And this vigilante style of religious justice and persecution. And it's said that that all of those actions from groups like Destiny taints the actual good work that so many people that are in different faiths do for our communities as a whole. So, yeah, I think that's also another thing that we tend to forget is especially as members of the queer community, it's going, oh, all those religious people are. No, that's not all of them. That's just like the 1%. It's a little tiny bit. Like there are so many amazing groups, and like while I do not ascribe to the foundations or like the core values of groups, say like the Salvation Army, especially in their policies relating to those that are members of the queer community, I do have to give credit where it's due in the fact that they still do a lot of great things for our wider communities, especially when it
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
to
yeah.
engagement with impoverished groups and homeless.
Mm,
Like you
big ups.
got you got to give credit where it's due to that. It's still like, and I think it's important that people are open to having constructive dialogue about it and like
Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
and like to groups like the Salvation Army going, hey, look, love what you're doing, but we don't agree on your policy in this. How can we work on this so we can all work together moving forward? Um, yeah, but great things. So many great things happen through
Yeah.
church and faith. Um, and it's sad that groups like Destiny end
Mm,
up undermining the integrity of what so many other amazing things do because we don't tend to hear in the news about this group did amazing work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think my last year in 2023 or 2022, me, Jason, and his sister, and we like, oh, there was a church group. We're like, oh, we should just go see what it's about. It was cool. Like they were welcoming. Like, oh, where do you work? And I was like, oh, I work for like a hotel. I just wanted to come see what this was all about. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, there's no harm in trying out new events. Like just going, having a look, and then like seeing what they're about, what their like kaupapa is. And yeah, there were
absolutely.
like a good bunch of like queer people that were just like there in the moment.
Yeah.
And then they talked about they had like a transgender lady. I forgot her
Hmm.
name. But she like done her like talk on what they can do in regards to like trans and all that stuff and everything else that needed to be answered. She was there. She talked about it, and like yeah, it was like they had like little refreshments and heaps of like little drinks and
Church,
stuff.
church things always have the best snacks.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, they know they know what to do. They know what to get. But yeah, it was just like it was more informative than like anything else. Like if you go to like say Slice and Dice or
Hmm.
the pizza game place by Little High.
Oh, Dyson, it's like, yeah, Dyson Slice.
Yeah, Dice and
Slice and fork.
Slice and Dice. That's a bit gruesome.
All the game pizza places have the word dice in it somehow, and it gets confusing. But
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
like that's cool for like the people that actually play those games and stuff and love pizza. Like I think there's a lot of people that love pizza, but yeah, it was like um, you don't. I've never been to one of the game night, so but yeah, I've done the beers night before. Um, like a Friday, I think, a couple of years ago
Yeah.
with like Jason and Sandeep and all that. And I was like, this is not my crowd. Like everybody's older and all that stuff. I'm like, where's all the young people? And then I was like, oh shit, this right. It's like a beers night. And it was cool. It was cool seeing other people and they're like, oh. And then we just like,
Yeah.
let's go. Let's get ready for the other night. So the other big night. And then yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah. um,
I think that the for their schedule, I was talking to Glenn about it.
mm,
I think it's neat how thinking back through time, because I know that the schedule is different and it's different board and everything. But I think the most popular events for Christchurch Pride Series were obviously the opening and closing parties,
yeah.
the boat party, but
Hmm.
then the drag queen story time, the bingo, and the dog walk.
Yeah.
And like, so if you're actually looking at those, half of those events, like three of them were parties with drinks and late night stuff. The other three, actually, and I'd also add there'd normally be a picnic out
Yeah.
in like
Hagley, I think.
North Canterbury.
Ah, yeah.
But so we'll say that's 4 out of 7 events are actually family focused, not focused on drinks and parties,
Mm,
accessible for all ages.
And
I
pet
think that's
friendly.
a really positive, and that's a really positive sign of how their region is.
Mm,
Um, I do think there's a slight reason to be able to go, let's have another party just to balance things out. But it's just me being selfish.
yeah.
But I think it's great, and like I love the family days, and I love going to the Drag Queen story time, and just having events where you get to see people engaging that are families that aren't even that are just allies to the queer community that aren't queer in their own sense, but obviously know people, have neighbours, they're part of a community, and that community has queer
Yeah.
people, so they're there just to show support. And I think it's when you get groups like Destiny going, they're converting the children, rah, rah, rah. Like, well, actually, come to these events that are family days,
And then you'll
and if
see.
you put blinkers on the parts that are, well, obviously you can't put blinkers on the parts that are literally rainbows because they're everywhere. But if you
Mm,
put blinkers on the parts that you're like, okay, I'm going to be this bigoted person. But just look at the things that families are engaging in. There's tug of
yeah.
war. There's gumboots throbbing. That's not converting people. That's literally just having games and having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Conversions, that's what happens in groups like Destiny.
Yeah.
So I don't, but I'm just to circle back, I'm really proud of how groups like Christchurch Pride
Mm,
have been able to strike up a really great balance. Again, I just hope that having a month series rather than 2 weeks doesn't dilute their engagement.
yeah.
Um,
But I think the big
but still,
guns kind of like left, and it's now the ones that were like learning from, say like you, Akira, Jill, Glenn, all of them. They were like, yeah, all of the younger, the ones that are kind of new to the Pride community is like, I've got some big shoes to fill. I feel
yeah, well, that
in
happens
a
with
way,
any organisation.
yeah.
Um, I know that I've always been very open with the fact that I'm a firm believer any voluntary organisation needs to always have a development type plan for onboarding new people and also exiting old people as well that have
Mm,
been there a while, just to mix things up. So I do volunteering. Oh, there's something else about me. I do volunteering for Camp Quality, who take kids living with cancer in summer camps,
no,
for no cost to their families, which I think is great. But something I really do think that that organisation does quite well is um, the tenure part for those that are in leadership. So camp managers first have to spend, I think, a fair few years, like on committees, and then they can become, if they want to follow the path to becoming a camp manager, so the person that runs a camp, they then have to be an assistant manager for 2 years to someone running the camp, and then they get to kind of take over the management role. So there's like a very clear progression, and then once you get to the end of that 2 years, you are replaced by the person that you have been mentoring. So that way you keep fresh ideas, things don't get stagnant, you don't get
mm,
stuck in, someone doesn't get stuck in their way of going, I always want it like this, and because I want it, or I don't want it, that's how it will be forever. And you
yeah,
also keep people's emotion going, okay, fine, we're never going to get this idea across the line with that person that's in charge, however, just wait another year,
yeah,
or
yeah,
wait 2 years, and they'll be gone.
mm,
They won't be vetoing ideas that have merit and are worthy, or we should just give a shot just because they don't like it. And I think organisations like Christchurch Pride, and I've
mm,
said it many times, need to have, if they don't now, have such plans in place, because otherwise things stagnate, people get apathetic and jaded, and then
yeah,
you get the people who are meant to be creating things and creating this magic disengaging,
mm.
burning out, and then all of a sudden you have an organization that's now putting on things where people are like, oh, these events are really shit. I'm like, well, A, if you're saying things are shit, put up your hand and actually help.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, hence I'm going to go blah blah blah, because I have put up my hand and helped in multiple organizations. So I
mm,
haven't been one of those people that go, what you should be doing is, and then don't actually lift a fucking finger.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
hence I am saying this with a bit of expertise, going, put up your hand and help, but also have organizations that have a plan to be able to refresh and renew. And that way you'll get new events, you'll get new energy, you have new people being part of the community, you get to meet new people in the communities that they're meant to be engaging with. And also, it makes it, let's put it basically, it makes it more fun, and it means you meet more people, and it makes it fun and easy. Like, why the fuck not?
In your time, I have like, has any of the our communities ever done like a sports day, like a family sports day, like where they
Um,
just go find not a random field, but like a rugby field, and then they just like have games of like small rugby games or um what else,
I'm not
like
too
soccer.
sure. I think there may also be issues with insurance and liability in organising larger
Mm,
scale family events,
yeah.
um, which does come into a large degree of consideration, especially when, again, to give credit where it's due, the
Mm,
people organising these, like Christchurch Pride, no one in their board is paid. It's all volunteer based
yeah.
in their own time, out of work hours. They've all got like bills to
Nine to
pay and
five.
jobs to do to pay those jobs.
Yeah.
So and I think that's something where people who are part of organisations, like pride groups, sports groups, etc., um, that's where I think people who haven't been part of it don't realise these people are doing it purely because they are doing it out of passion. They're
Yeah.
not doing it
For the money.
for the pay.
Yeah.
Like I was part of many years ago, I managed the New Zealand Falcons game inclusive rugby team for 2 years
Yeah.
after being part of it for a little bit. And that time was definitely something I'd never change. I might change aspects of it, but
Mm,
um, I remember one night we're out in bars and someone came up to me and was like, "Oh, you need to go sort out one of our teammates because his daddy just stopped him and he's crying." And I'm like, no, he's fine. He's like, but that's what you're paid to do. You're our manager. You're paid to do that. I'm like, it's 3 in the fucking morning, and
yeah.
also, I'm not paid. Every time that I've been driving you home because you're like, oh, can I have a lift? That's been my fuel. And also, the field is here. My apartment's here. Your apartment is over here. Like, I'm literally going out of my way massively.
Mm,
I'm not getting reimbursed for this. I'm
yeah.
not
Yeah.
getting paid for this. I think when I left, I got like a fuel card for like $20 and a bunch of flowers, which was beautiful and lovely.
Yeah.
But everything leading up to that, I was never paid for that. So yeah, people just they just think things here magically happen. Yet
Yeah.
there are so many people behind the scenes making things work, and the majority of them aren't paid for it. And the majority of people that say you people should be doing X, Y, Z, those people never even just say thank you. And even just a thank you is enough to
Mm,
keep these people engaged longer.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm. What were we talking about? I got distracted.
Um, your life story. But yeah, no, it's cool talking about other things. But so when like, what age were you when you came out or knew that you were
um,
gay or a little different
little
than
bit, little bit, Kate Blanchett.
yeah,
Uh,
a little bit bendy the hand.
I think there's always been part of my personality, and I'm
Mm,
aware of that. I was an only child. I am an only child. Um, and so I didn't have siblings growing up. And my age group peers in my family, so my cousins, all lived in different regions, so we only really saw each other a couple of times a year.
mm,
Um, I was lucky that I had quite a stable upbringing, so
yeah.
I went to the same primary school, then like one primary school, one intermediate school, one college.
Mm,
So I didn't have to make lots of new friend groups, and I got to travel through those age brackets with the same people.
yeah.
So while I'm not religious, I do use the term that I'm very blessed.
Mm.
And I used that term before hashtag blessed was a thing. Just saying. Um,
We can respect
I
your hashtag.
like I used that term before hashtags even existed. Jesus. Almighty. But I have a lot of friends that I've known since primary school,
Mm,
And like through those formative years of school, that they were, they are still incredibly close. Like I'm an uncle to their kids. Like we've known each other for so incredibly long that they are like this family and they are like siblings.
Yeah.
And so having that constant support was really, really beneficial in relation to finding my own sense of self.
Yeah.
Um, the family that I had did have history of having ministers and priests in the
Mm.
family, so there's a kind of a religious undertone. I went to church with my grandma on Sundays every now and then, but mainly it was for the food at the end. Um,
Yeah.
it's family wise. I don't know. Like I did gymnastics, I played piano, I actively did not want to play rugby because I'd get dirty. It's like gross. Like
Mm.
other kids
Yeah.
would be making meat pies in the garden, mud pies in the garden, meat pies.
Meat
They'd be
pie.
making mud pies in the garden, and
Yeah.
I'd be getting round
Funny.
nasturtium leaves, and then I'd be getting some pink petals, and that's like the tomato sauce, and I'd be getting yellow, like there's like a little succulent with yellow leaves, and I'd get that and sprinkle that on top, and that was the cheese for the pizza, and then I'd take my like floral pizza.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. There's always kind of like that. I use this the phrase like queer sensibility.
Mm.
Um, so there's always kind of an air of queer sensibility kind of growing up, and I guess probably realizations of that sense of difference would have been more maybe probably
Yeah.
9 or 10ish. My dad passed away when I was 9. And going to his tangi, well, his multiple tangi, um, I guess there
Yeah.
was a strong sense then as well, but not really knowing what that was. And I guess then moving on from that was like mid-teens.
Mm.
Um, that's when a sense really, really stuck in of that queer sensibility and that difference. But also, it wasn't something that I really wanted to deal with, and I wasn't really pushed to either.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, it's high school in New Zealand, in South Auckland, so everyone's like, "Oh, you're a faggot. Oh, you're fucking gay." I'm like, "Well, I haven't addressed that, so what is?" Um, and then it was only after high school
Yeah.
when I had been working for a few years. I had a cousin involved in Camp Quality that had asked me to volunteer, and I went through a few changes in study and work and went, actually, screw it, I'm going to take part.
Mm.
And I ended up volunteering, and it was through Camp Quality that I finally actually met other gay people. They were out and proud and relatively well adjusted. Uh, and these weren't the predators and the degenerates. Well,
Yeah.
degenerates in a good way, but they went the like the scum of and scourge of society that had been impressed upon me because I'd never had any people, members of the community,
Yeah.
been exposed to them beforehand. Um, but it was through meeting them that I got a stronger sense of self, and it was when I would have been probably 23. 23. I had been away for a hiking trip with friends
Mm.
from camp to
Yeah.
do the Tokoroa crossing, and then afterwards we were in Raglan for the weekend. And when I was in Raglan, one of the friends from camp had actually just come out like a month beforehand, so he
Yeah.
was all like figure snapping, yasanti, being the stereotype that you often think one should or needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I still wasn't out yet. I've been going to family with those guys just because I like the music.
Mm.
And then ended up meeting, the two of us met this other guy in Raglan, and then let's just say I don't look at the Raglan skate park or any skate park that has a big bowl in it made of concrete the same. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Obviously, that friend of mine from camp was not part of that, so it was just me and the other one. But then after that, I left that weekend early to go to a 21st party for my friend group from high school.
Yeah.
And I arrived very, very late because I was driving up from Raglan. And one of my high school mates was like a couple of drinks in.
Yeah.
And he sat down, he's like, oh, look, we just want to say, we know you're gay, but we love you. We all talk about it behind your back. We all say, when is he going to just finally come out? We all know that he is. Seriously,
Yeah.
when? Oh, it's just so frustrating. But we love you. We're not saying it in a bad way, but seriously. Oh my God. And I just responded going, well, I haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
Haven't come out yet. They haven't come out yet. And that moment in itself was very heartwarming because there's always that kind of that sense of fear. And
Yeah.
that alleviated that a lot. And then later in that year, when it was for my 24th birthday, I threw a birthday party. I'd come out to a few very, very close friends, but to like that wider core group. I was meant to be on the 27th of December. I was meant to be at a friend's engagement party for one of the people in the group, and I was the MC for a wedding, so I needed to be there, and I was not because I was very hungover from a very big Boxing Day party.
Yeah.
And one of the members of the group messaged me going, "We know where you are. We know we know you're with this person. Seriously, that's not an excuse to like ditch out on this event.
Yeah.
You need to make up for this." And so my birthday's on the 29th of December. I'm a Capricorn. So I organised a beach party lunch for myself and include all those people, and then went, oh, by the way, my partner's going to be there too. And that was effectively my coming out to the majority of the rest of the friends. And when I went to set up the event for that day, I drove up. It was at one of the beaches on the North Shore. Went up there and Long Bay. Set everything up, and then I turned to my partner all the time and went, by the way, I'm going to be swimming all day. I'm going in the water. That's it. You guys sort it out. So that was kind of that process. And then it was a little while later, it was a couple of months later, there was a storyline on Shortland Street where Maya was taking Nicole back to Tauranga, the irony, to like introduce to family and to kind of come out. And Mum and I, it was pretty sure it was Tuesday, and we'd just been to Pizza Hut to pick up pizza to have watching dinner. And I have no idea how the storyline came up.
Yeah, I remember.
But I was like, well, it was like I can remember going, well, I can understand her parents may have a moment of being affronted by it, because let's also be fair, when people come out to family members or to anyone, going, this is who I am, here's a moment of honesty and truth, and when those people that they're telling are kind of shocked by it, or may not appear the most supportive off the bat, let's also remember those people have literally just been told this piece of news. Like any kind of news that's out of the blue, it takes a while to process, and like it's a journey. It's all a journey, and coming out's a journey, definitely. But like, give people some time to process, and hence saying, well, I can understand why Maya/Nicole's parents, I can't remember which ones it was, why the parents might be taken back a little bit, because they they're just getting this news right now. So to all the young people coming out, and they're like, oh, I just told my parents, and they were like, what? I can't believe they're not supportive of me. You've had years to deal with your journey. They're literally just hearing this news. So give them some space. And we were crossing. So we had the pizza. We're crossing under the bridge on Subway Road on Papagura, in between KFC and Woolworths. And I remember Mum turned to me going, "Wait, are you gay?" And I was like, "Yep." And then we didn't speak for the next like kilometre and a half to get home. And then we sat down, I put the pizzas on the coffee table in the dining room, the lounge, so we could watch TV. And I was like, look, I've taken ages to come to terms with this. And I know that this is going to be something that you're going to take some time to deal with.
Yeah.
So take the time that you need. And from that, it was like, and I still love you. And I know that you still love me. But I do respect, because Mum has come from a religious family.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, take the time you need. That's all right. And to be fair, for like the next 2 to 3 months, we didn't really probably talk apart from everyday kind of civility.
Yeah. Like, hey,
Like,
morning.
good morning, pass us out. Had a good day. Oh my God, Monday. Look at the weather. Like, there wasn't anything deeper than that.
Yeah.
And that was challenging, but I knew that, well, again, I'd been given the grace of time to be able to work to my own schedule.
Yeah.
And the least, that's what she deserved as well. And I also knew at the core of it, that wouldn't change things. Because by that stage, I was fine and secure in who I was and all of that. But I knew ultimately at the end of it, the foundation of our relationship, that wouldn't shift. Obviously, it was scary, but she deserved to have the time to process things without being pushed along or forced to act in a certain way faster. Like, that's healthy. So that took some time. But now she's a massive ally. She loves Drag Race. Absolutely. She's always like, is there another episode of Drag Race? We have WoW. So we end up watching lots of Drag Race. Jesus. She's met, I remember Anita Wiglet came down here. Funny story, when the Falcons did a fundraising strip show, I was part of it the year after my partner and I separated, because he was like, I don't want you taking part in that. And I'm like, I want to help raise funds for the team, but he was all insecure. So the year afterwards, I took part in it, and I needed to wear some heels for part of a routine. And I didn't have any. And so I was walking home past Kalutsi when Kita and Nita were there, and I popped in and I was like, hey, on the off chance, do you have some heels that I could borrow? And Anita lent me hers for that routine. So the very first pair of heels that I ever wore were actually Anita Wiglet's, which I am incredibly thankful for.
Yeah.
And so after Anita did Drag Race, I saw that she was doing her Funny Girl tour around New Zealand, which was an amazing show. It's absolutely fantastic. Nick did a fantastic job in that. And I surprised Mum with tickets when she was down here in Tauranga. And I remember I'd been messaging Anita, Nick, to go, hey, coming along, bring my mum, really, really excited. And I remember afterwards, Anita was out in the foyer, and Mum was like, I really want to meet her. I'm like, yeah, sure. And then we're in the line progressing, and Mum was like, do you really know her?
Yeah.
Do you know her? And then I'm like, oh yeah, we know each other from Auckland. And then we got to the front of the line, and Anita was like, oh my God, Matt, it's so nice to meet you. And this must be your mum, Anne. Anne, it's so nice to meet you. Mum, like, melted. She was just like, oh my God. It was so fantastic. And then a couple of years after that, Mum had some dental work that she needed, and not many people like going to the dentist. So she had a bit of nerves about that. And so I messaged Anita to see whether she would mind doing like a cameo type video thing. And ended up getting a really, really lovely message as well from Mum from her. And then next week, actually, Anita is down here doing, this seems like a Anita promo pic. She's down here next week doing a drag bingo event in Tauranga. So I mentioned to Mum last week, it's like, oh, by the way, I've got tickets for us to go and play bingo.
Nice.
Yeah, so super excited. So Mum's like a massive fan of the community. Absolutely. Massive,
Mm.
massive fan. A big supporter. And I know that through me being actively out and part of the community,
Yeah.
she's that's also changed her perspective, because the perspective she got from the background and the sources of
Mm.
information she had on what the community was like
Yeah.
versus what she actually got to experience for herself really shifted those perspectives. Even when I was part of the Falcons, she would come along to every single rugby match to support the team. Uh,
Yeah.
like just lots of little things, and she has made some amazing friends through it all. So it's kind of like the journey of coming out isn't just for that person; it's for
Mm.
their whole support base family unit as well.
Yeah.
Um, even I remember having a conversation with someone that I'd known for a long time who would always use the phrase, "Oh, it's so gay." This is like the Hillary Duff ad meme.
Yeah.
He would always be like, "Oh, that's so gay." And then I remember one day after I was out being like, you know, I know what your intent is. I know you mean nothing. You don't mean any ill will by it. However, you and I do not know who around us is overhearing these comments while they're dealing with their own sense of identity and their own self. And those people do not know that your intent is always from a place of love and goodwill. They don't know that. All they're hearing is, that's okay. And they're taking that as an extra layer of, don't be who you are.
Yeah.
And that could be any of our kids right now. We don't know. So my advice is just be more mindful and try to shift the use of language like that.
Mm.
Again, I know that you are not coming from a place of ill will, and I know that. I know there's no homophobia in the way you're saying,
Mm.
but
Just
just be
mindful.
mindful of it. Yeah, and that person was like, oh, crikey, I genuinely
Yeah.
hadn't even realized, hadn't even clicked. Thank you for having that conversation. I know that they have gone to a concerted effort and their language has shifted,
Mm.
because of that as well. And yeah, it's like anything, it's a journey, and each journey is different. Mine has overall been relatively positive, actually.
Yeah.
Um, I did. I do remember when I competed for Mr. New Zealand, for the Australasian beer title
Yeah.
in Southern Harbor Nation. I remember actually getting off stage and being really pissed off because there was a question round and everyone else was asked like kind of more fluffy questions, and I was asked, if there's one thing you could say to your father, what would it be? And like, queer men and their fathers always have an interesting dynamic relationship. But I was like, my dad died when I was 9. Fuck. This is really unfair. This is not a cool question to have. And that honestly actually really threw me when I was on stage. Like I kind of prepped as much as one can for a question interview pageant round.
Yeah.
But not expecting, like, what would you say? Like, if there's a question of, if you could talk to anyone living or dead, what would it be? And my response would be, living! Um, but that really made me, made me angry,
Mm.
actually. I thought it was really unfair. I don't know whether they knew, or I think actually, no, it came up in my beforehand, before the competition, you have an interview round with the judges,
Yeah.
just so they can meet you one-on-one, which I think is a great idea because it means the contestants get to meet their judges and just kind of like
And
relax a little.
yeah, and for them to not think like it's a biased type of competition.
Yeah, well, it's beers. There's always politics,
Yeah.
but I just remember getting off that stage going, fucking hell, that was really, really that was low.
Yeah.
Again,
Insensitive and also
it's
just.
it's I again I will give the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't known.
Mm.
However, I feel like things like that, if you know there's a potential that, by the way, in your interview round, what are some topics, what are your relationships like with your family?
Yeah.
What are your relationships like in XYZ? Just so, because you never know, there might have been like extreme trauma and abuse in
Mm.
those relationships, and you're like, oh great, now I'm reliving trauma when I'm meant to be competing. Like, not just not cool. So I think that was probably one point where there was a moment of challenge, because obviously there would have been like a whole journey of conversation. Um, and I guess the added aspect of like he was the oldest male in his Māori family, and I'm his only son from his Māori side, so there's kind of like that cultural aspect as well, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
that came into it. I mean, yeah, but apart from that, I really haven't, and obviously the high school kids just calling names, like,
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah.
now people shout that out of car, which ironically, the only place in New Zealand that two places that I've actually experienced blatant homophobia in the public. Once was in Invercargill from staff at a KFC, which I then reported, and they were like, we will deal with this issue. Restaurant brands, they won't. And the other times have been actually in Wellington from cis-presenting Pākehā woman. I'm like, are you serious? Whereas how people are being like going, oh, look at the faggot. I'm like, yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
and oh, yeah, I'm a total faggot. And
Yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
use language like faggot and queer, and I also completely hold the negative history that those terms have had.
Yeah.
And I do believe there's a lot of power in language. So if you need to prove a point or be blunt in some way, I think there's a lot of tact in being blunt. There's a lot of tact in being vulgar. You need to know when to wield it, and using terms like faggot, I totally use.
Yeah.
But also being aware of the audience, of who is around me and who is overhearing potentially. I used earlier the term queer sensibility, because I think the term queer actually is really quite beautiful in the way that it actually includes, ironically, queer. Don't separate us. Don't not acknowledge us. Actually, from my view, and I know not everyone will agree, but my view, the term queer is a great umbrella term to acknowledge anyone in their own sense of identity,
Yeah.
including including members of the straight community that just aren't complete dicks. Everyone's queer.
Mm.
Queer doesn't have to, and queer I think also doesn't have to be an identifier of orientation.
Yeah.
Queer could just be an identifier of lifestyle. Queer could be an identifier of kind of self-image.
Mm.
I think it's a term of not conforming to the heteronormative box
Yeah.
of you must be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Wait, amendment, you must be X and Y. There are no Zs. It is only binary. That is it. Like anything that's outside of that, you must be this. I class as being queer. And having a queer sensibility is kind of having an awareness of that, and it's the use of language and kind of perspective on the world that comes from a place that's broader than you must have a white picket fence.
Yeah. If you were to like choose your top 5 songs to have on like Spotify or Apple Music, what would it be?
Right now, it is my number one is definitely Can't. That's Kant
Yeah.
by I think it's Mariana Conte for Eurovision, representing Malta. Amazing. Also just heard the track from Australia, the Milkshake Man. Oh, he's hot. But Eurovision, anything Eurovision,
Yeah.
Eurovision is amazing. I was introduced to it when I was in Australia, and oh, you can't just. It's like describing Drag Race to someone that doesn't watch Drag Race. You just need to see it and get a sense of it. Eurovision is the same, but adds competition and judging where you get to take part in the audience and actually vote. And it has a very high degree of queer sensibility.
Yeah.
But any of the music, especially this year, the music this year is amazing, but literally the word is called cunt. The video takes the piss out of the Sound of Music's Do Re Mi. And even leading into the chorus, they're like, do, re, mi, fa, so, serving, cunt. Because the word cunt in Malta's native language means song.
Oh, like underwear?
Like singing.
Ah,
Song.
Okay.
So it's like, actually, you're not serving, you're, do, re, mi, fa, so, serving, singing. Serving songs. That's what we're singing about. Oh, what, there's another meaning? That's camp.
Yeah.
So that track is a banger. I'll send you a link. It is so good. Naturally, anything by Kylie Minogue, or Kylie Minogue if I'm feeling more upbeat, or Ariana Grande if I'm feeling more chilled. Then I've got two more. I'll probably say right now on my list, because I just seem to go, I find a song that I'm kind of thinking of, and then I go to radio, and then just play things based off that, and generated from it. I'm loving, I have no idea why. Oh, actually, no, I love Rappy Bit. I love Rappy Bits in the song. It's so, ask me to do Ice Ice Baby. I can do it all. It's great.
Yeah.
But I'm loving Doechii and Baby No Money. They are just something about them. They're brilliant. Absolutely lovely.
Artist, though.
Stunning. Amazing.
She brought out that Anxiety song, which is like...
it's
on
brilliant.
TikTok, but it's also like... there's rap into it as well, so... I'm just
in love. Absolutely in love.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful person, a fantastically smart artist. Baby No Money also has... Baby No Money and Young Gravy... Don't know where they are on whatever kind of orientation spectrum, but they definitely have a queer sensibility.
Yeah.
That is for certain. In one of his tracks, he has the line of 3 scoops creatine, steam room, Equinox. Yeah. I'm like, you've got a queer sensibility, and this is fantastic. This is great. So so that'll be my 5. It will be Cunt by Maria Conte, Kylie or Ariana, depending on mood and how amped or chill I want to be, and then Doechii and Baby No Money.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? What are you listening to?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Please. Fantastic.
It's the song Taste, which is diabolical. Yeah. It's like the music video is quite gory, but it's also she's actually telling the side where he cheated on you with me, blah blah blah, and then it's you can taste me on him. I'm like,
I like her music. I like her stuff because she's really, her sense of humor is very dry, so dry, but it's dry and slapstick, which to me is that's just very very smart. And it takes a lot. It's quite intellectual as well. Did you see her Christmas special
on SNL or
on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
Okay, after this, at some point, when you've got a half an hour, I think it's half an hour, maybe it's an hour. It's so good. It is very taking the piss, tongue in cheek. She's got guest stars Chapel Roan and Shania Twain.
Mm.
It is very, very, very Selena Carpenter's style of music in her videos, but for an hour-long special.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Recommend it.
Sabrina Carpenter, Shuffle Roan, Dochi, and then Glorilla. Because I don't know, I just feel like when I listen to black women rapping and stuff, it's like empowering. Like, yeah, the shaking ass and titties and all that stuff, but like, yeah, it's just a different sense of like it's something that Jason doesn't get. Like he'll listen to it, he's like, "What the fuck? What is this?" And I'm like, it's like shaking ass music. Like it puts you on a good feel, or make you
Yeah,
want to be a
I think
bad.
also female rappers as well. I think, well, male rappers with a queer sensibility
Mm,
and female rappers. There's just a really huge sense of empowerment in it.
yeah.
Whereas, like, I will always have a special place in my heart for Snoop Dogg. I don't know why. He just makes me smile. It's just something about him. But
Yeah.
like rap that wasn't rap that was after the early 90s, so rap that's kind of late 90s and early 2000s when it was just like I'm just rapping for the sake of rapping. I'm just going to talk about bitches and dollars and cars and bills.
Yeah.
Um, like that. What's the depth there? There's no meaning there.
Mm,
You're literally talking about money and materialistic shit. That's it. Whereas these women that are rapping about their identity. Even I can't. Who's the one that does Boss Bitch?
Doja Cat.
Doja Cat. Even Doja Cat. I'm a bitch. I'm a boss. I'm a bitch. I'm a boss. Like that is empowering.
Yeah, it's ingenious.
Like absolutely. Ain't trying to be cool like you, wobbling around in high heel shoes. I'm clumsy. Made friends with the floor. 2 for 1. You know, a bitch by 4 and 2 with fleet. You know, always drops. Yeah, I love rappy things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
And
that's
also that tracks like that are amazing. And also the that is one of my favorite Drag Race lip syncs is between Anitra and Marsha to that track when Anitra like does like a dive roll over Marsha.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Well,
yeah
me and
that
Jason just watched season 14, um,
okay.
where Willow Pill wins. So Willow
Oh
was
yeah,
behind.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh, and that, I
Jason
think
found a
this season 15. See,
yeah,
so Anitra is my favorite. Anitra is my favorite in that. That's yeah.
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 Jason found a app that just shows RuPaul. Like it's RuPaul's app where he just has all of his shows.
Oh, and that's wow.
Yeah,
Wow
yeah, yeah.
presents. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
yeah, it has like every episode, and I'm like, oh, there's so much. I'm like,
So
yeah,
much. And then there's also the international franchises.
mm,
And it really does show that there are different, because I feel like drag is a great kind of reflection of different aspects of kind of local community and politics. And I think it does show the differences in politics and community across the world. Like Australasia is very kind of dry, slapstick, but also vulgar. And then you get somewhere in like Belgium and France, which is fashion and art, while also having commentary on culture. Like, yeah, culturally they're all really different, which I think is quite cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And what? Kylie Minogue, there's only her 90s to 2000s era. Can't get you out of my head, and also I'm spinning around. We're like, I only watched it because like I was one of those. Oh, it's a white lady with like half titty hanging out or whatever, or
Oh,
booty hanging out.
I love.
But
This is going
yeah,
to sound me being. This is me being a total chauvinist.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love. Like, if I was a woman, I'd totally be like in that like 1950s, 60s rockabilly, like wearing dresses. I'm like, all women should wear dresses. They're just beautiful. They're
Mm,
just stunning. Just wear dresses with pockets. Dresses with pockets, because
mm,
I'm a feminist.
mm,
Wear with pockets. Um, but I also absolutely completely think that. I've now just lost my point because I got distracted by the rain.
The
Um,
rain.
but
It,
we were talking about rain. No, not talking about rain. We were talking about if I was a
I don't
woman,
know.
I'd be in 1950s, 60s. Kylie Minogue.
Mm.
That's right. I had a point about Kylie Minogue. Oh, well, if it's important, then I'll just like pop it back in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no,
I
I
mean, I
just
would say I
she's
like
amazing.
Madonna, but I don't. I don't listen to
Yeah,
Madonna enough to like actually justify my liking towards her. Like she's a cool
yeah,
character and music and all that stuff, but I think the only song that actually hit was Vogue. So, but that was the only
yeah,
song I didn't like after her doing samples of like "Gimme, Gimme, Gimme" from ABBA.
yeah.
I was
I
like,
think her music
"Mm,
album was probably the last one that I listened to. Actually, although I did learn the dance moves to her "Don't Tell Me to Stop." Don't tell me.
mm."
The one that had the cowboys in it. I was like, I'm gonna learn this dance. That was great.
Yeah, and then
Um,
I think after Jason started playing Cher with "Take It Like a Man,"
yeah.
yeah, like she's been around. I've listened to her for a while, so
I like Cher's music. I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of Madonna. It's like it doesn't really resonate so much with me.
mm,
Cher's, I think, is great. I also think that I've never seen anything about Cher that makes me go, "Oh, you sound horrible." Whereas Madonna, I, just off the top of my head, there's an article about her getting new and developing and young artists to help collaborate on an album, and then went, "Oh yeah, I'm not paying you. The fact that you worked on this is payment enough." I'm like, no,
yeah. But then
that's
like
abuse.
Lady Gaga with her Abracadabra, oh my god,
Oh, Gaga. Absolutely.
Abracadabra,
Gaga's just always there.
yeah.
Absolutely.
She'll do some. I like listening to Swine from Lady Gaga just to feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to feel. I guess like. Uh, yeah, when you listen to Swine, it's just like one of those songs where you just like you feel filthy, but it's like a good filth.
I think that's the point of the song. But
Yeah,
she has a definite queer sensibility. Well, actually, all of them have a queer sensibility. That's for sure.
yeah.
However, I'd imagine most a lot of queer men that if they close their eyes and imagine themselves as being like a diva princess woman, they imagine Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, yeah. But then I like not being think about a song, but like her Padam song. Kind of like it was good, but then there were people that just like
It had its moment.
yeah, they overdid it in a way.
Which
In
is
my
part of its
eyes,
charm.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like
I can't believe. Like, I am. It popped in. This song actually popped in my head earlier today. I was like, oh, it's backtrack. Oh, cute. But when it came out, it was like played it was on high repeat. And I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that's why, like, now I'm probably not listening to Chapel Roan as much because when
yeah,
her album first came out, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Let's just keep hammering this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I've been there, done that.
yeah. The Good
I,
Luck Babe song is too good. But then yeah,
um,
with like Padam, there was like a few people in New Zealand. I think that took over and then did like the like thousand Kylie Minogue type of thing, and then
yeah.
like for Halloween, I think it was. That's like the whole thing was just Kylie Minogue. I was like, I mean, like that song, she is cool, but like,
But there are more
don't overdo it.
songs.
Yeah, there's other
Although
songs.
I'm enjoying her new stuff that she's releasing as well. Actually, I can't remember the name of the latest track, but I remember I enjoyed that. I
Yeah,
also just remembered what my point was about women. So a total
yeah,
chauvinist. Woman dresses, pockets. But the one thing that I do always love is I think it's the early 2000s,
hmm
um, where you'd have, more so in the early 2000s, you'd have, say, like, dance shows. So Ministry of Sound would have Betty Bonassi's Satisfaction, and you'd have Shawnee B's Icy Girls, and you'd
yeah, yeah,
have Definition Calabria by insert name here, and featuring Crystal Waters. all those music videos that have beautiful women wearing hardly anything. Also, I love the Benny Benassi video when there's a clip of what the blonde chick with the really big tits using the jackhammer, just as the beat kind of drops to a pause. As the pause happens, if you look at the video really closely, you can see on the side she looks at her nails and she's like, oh fuck, because she's just broken a nail.
Yeah.
Just a handy little tidbit. But like, I absolutely love dance track music videos that have the most beautiful woman wearing hardly anything, just like dancing around. It's so chauvinistic. But I tend to take the position of, I'm not objectifying them, I'm just celebrating them as beautiful women that are only everything that they are, and making some coin for a video. Like, I respect that. And it's just hot. It's just so hot. And I'm like, oh, just play me a music montage with like all of those like super hot videos. Although Shawnee B's Icy Girls, because that's like Icy Girls, here, there, and everywhere, short skirts, long hair, love it when they walk. Yeah, I really wish that Shawnee B would bring out a Pride version for boys, being like something along the lines of like, I see boys here, then everywhere, short shorts, chest there, love it when they walk. Yeah. That'd be so hot. That'd be awesome. Like, have a 20-year re-release update. Have one verse with the boys, have one verse with the girls. Like, do both of them. Like, that'd just be cool.
Yeah.
So, internet world, if you can get Shawnee B to do that, that'd be like amazing.
Yeah. But I did come across one song, Mooney Love. She's an Italian singer. But when I listened to it, I was like, holy shit! I remember listening to this back in when C4 was a TV show, not a Bob.
Oh, send me a link. But yeah, C4 TV.
Yeah. What else?
Petra Baghurst.
Yeah, I know, right? What is your top 5 celebrity crushes? Male, female? Or if you don't have a top 5, like top 3.
Oh, I can totally just go. Jonathan Bailey, there's also a guy that was at the Bears competition that I'd had a few drinks, and I was like, I'm just going to say, you are absolutely gorgeous, and Jonathan Bailey looks just like you. You are so hot. And then I, embarrassingly to Cameron, insisted for like the rest of that night that I find this boy again to talk to him more, and I could not find him, and I was so heartbroken. I think I might have found it on my Facebook, but I definitely Jonathan Bailey. Just something about him. I just can't. So my gauge of celebrity crushes is when I see the person, I just can't help being like, like a schoolgirl. So for me, those people would be Jonathan Bailey, Pablo Pascal, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Just makes me smile. Just something about him. Channing Tatum. Who else? I would like to always say that I have an infinite amount of love for Nigella Lawson. I met her once.
Did you?
Yeah, I met her at a book signing. She came to New Zealand and I was at her Newmarket book signing, and I took the day off work with a colleague, and we were like 10th in the line to see her, so thankfully we were in air conditioning because it was a very hot day. And I remember going up to her, and as we were walking up, my mate was like, what are you going to say to her? Because you love her. I'm like, I can talk to her? And just freaked out.
Yeah.
And she walked in and she was flawless, an absolute goddess. And I got up to her and she's like, oh, hi, how are you? And I'm like, oh, great. And then I just went bleh with, when you reference the Scarlet Whore of Babylon in your recipe for Christmas cake, I realize I love you as an author and a chef. And she was like, oh, yeah, thank you. Like, which recipe, and then I walked away and my friend was like, oh my God, that's so cool. How did you feel? I'm like, I just said whore to Nigella Lawson.
Yeah.
But definitely Nigella, I think, is stunning and gorgeous. Yeah. But yeah, those boys are beautiful. Zac Efron as well. Zac Efron is one that just now makes me go, oh, Zac Efron.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He made everybody do that when he first came out.
Yeah, nah,
But
not so much.
now, since he's all ripped and older,
Ripped and daddified.
muscly, yeah, and older, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So those would be mine. Those are the ones that definitely just make me kind of blush and like I went and saw Wicked. The second time I saw Wicked, I've only seen it twice. I took Glenn, and I realized that the whole time I was just sitting. Every time John Bailey was on screen, I was just like, my cheeks were sore. It was like when you've been to a wedding all day and you spend the whole day smiling and all day happy, and you get home, you're like, oh my god, why is my face so sore? It was like that. Just after like the 2, 3, 40, whatever hours Wicked is, so long. But yeah, it's so cute. So yeah, hence on that there's competition night when I saw that guy, I'm like, you are so beautiful. I just have to say it. You're just gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about yours? Who are your celebrity crushes?
John Krasinski. Now, since he's put on a bit of muscle. Jonathan Bailey, but when he done Fellow Travelers, yeah. I was just like, man, like glasses. Yeah. Any picture with glasses is just like it kind of adds a bit more attraction to the person. Not
and also you get Also, you get the fun joy of like it's. I'm like it's almost like the Liberian fantasy. Like oh yes, I'm sensible then. Rip them off and.
Yeah. Who else? Jason Momoa.
And he's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's genuinely a nice person.
Patrick Wilson from The Conjuring. I think this is him. You know how there's... He's also on Aquaman 1 and 2. He's Jason Momoa's brother. Oh my god.
Okay. I'll add that to my list of things to check out.
Yeah. 1, 2, yeah, that's 4. And then Kylie Minogue back in the 90s.
Oh my god, Kylie Minogue! I'm adding Kylie Minogue. That's a special mention. Kylie Minogue. Yeah, absolutely.
Every time I watch Can't Get You Out of My Head, I imagine just like this side boob, side butt, side leg, whatever.
Actually, Kylie is also one. I'm just like, I just get all that giggly and schoolgirly. I get fangirly over Kylie Minogue and Nigella, and I get schoolgirly like over the boys. But just stunning.
It's like whenever me and Jason go watch a movie and stuff, and if it has like Jonathan Bailey or say Jason Momoa, he starts cracking up. I'm like, shut up, like, whatever child then. And then
know exactly what you were signing up for when you came to this film with me.
Yeah. So like we watched Wicked, and I enjoyed it solely because of Cynthia, like her singing.
Amazing.
But then there was the side of like Jonathan Bailey, and then I like because he had a something to do in Sydney, so I was hitting up Sandy, is he eating at your place? And he's like, no, I wish. And I was like, man, that would be like just seeing him like prepare would be like funny.
Oh, that would be amazing.
But yeah, I was like when I watched because I watched Fellow Travelers at work.
Yeah.
And like during the nights we can watch movies and just keep looking at cameras and stuff like that for safety purposes and stuff.
Yeah.
I was just like watching it, and I was amazed, but like at the acting type of thing. Like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
a gay thing and a gay show, but then it was also like showing how like dangerous it was back in those times.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they
Yeah.
would have like a toilet area or cubicle where people would just hook up in, and then that can get shut down by police. Like if they see too
Yeah.
many like men walking in, and it's like, oh, okay, and then bang, all of them will get arrested or beaten up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, it's a bit, yeah. When I watched it, I was just like, in a way, like we have it easier now. Not like
Yeah.
not the getting beaten up part, but like yeah, we can go into other people's privacy. So like go into their houses and do all of that stuff where they had to
No,
like yeah.
it's homosexual acts are no longer a criminal offence
Mm,
like they were back in the day.
yeah,
So
yeah,
even in a private residence or a private situation, that was
yeah.
still a chargeable offence for
Mm,
just being
there.
consensually adults. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of, I think, a really important place to remember and
Mm,
to always kind of respect. Like, um, I'm very thankful through the Bears community of having to be able to meet and get to know a lot of guys who have been through all of those times and lived through those experiences.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and just hearing how that's shaped them, but also hearing how their experiences have been able to positively shape the world that we have now. Like, I'm incredibly thankful, and it's unless we continue to kind of, this going to sound really winky, but
Mm,
unless we continue to honor our elders, then the lessons, but also the trials of those times, we risk repeating.
yeah.
Um, So yeah, I think it's really important to keep hearing those stories
Mm,
and those experiences, and it also allows those battles and that fortitude to kind of keep living on even after they've passed on, which
yeah.
is, I think, really really important.
Yeah, and like with like when Jason did his pride walk with his work, he
Mm.
brought up the reasons why like we do pride walks and um do drag performances. It's just to like
Yeah,
kind of lift up the um I don't know, bring entertainment plus also bring into light like what people had to fight for and
yeah, completely. And
what
to
we
highlight
can
that there, I
yeah.
think also to highlight that there are safe spaces. Again,
Mm,
kind of like just to think back to like that example of like you don't know who's listening to your conversation, you don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
what other people are dealing with around you. However, putting on a display of unity, of pride, of solidarity, of safety and support,
yeah. Hmm.
you don't know who is seeing that. So sure, there may be people seeing it that are supportive of the community. There may be people that are seeing it that are protesting and completely against it. But there may also be people that don't know whether they are part of that community, but they're questioning and seeing that there is a safe space,
Mm,
especially for those who may not have that anywhere else, is really powerful and also really important.
yeah,
Everyone deserves safety. Whether
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
you deserve safety in terms of yourself and your community, and whether it's finding it in those that are your family or finding it outside of that.
Mm,
Safety is really, really important, especially when
yeah,
you're
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
find out who you are as an individual. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
when he did it, like everybody was like, "Oh my god!" And then they started like he was telling them like, "Oh, do you know what like asexual is or intersex is or pansexual or whatever?" And like everybody's like, "Nah." So he told them, And I was like, that's a good way to like get people, like educate them in that sort of area, because like not many people, most people think they're like, oh, what's the LGBTQIA plus, um, it's they center everything around like people think that they just center everything around trans and like gay, and I'm like, nah. Like if you look
This
at it, the whole thing, like yeah, you can identify as anything really.
the
You can put a you don't even need to put a label on yourself. Like I've got a workmate, she's queer, lesbian type of thing. Um, she says that her partner is female. Her partner is straight. She identifies as a straight woman, but she is a female partner. Like, and I'm like, yeah, see, like, you don't even need to conform to like the
yeah,
norms of like lesbian, gay, bi, and all that stuff.
I think it's when you'd have people going, I don't understand that. To be a straight woman, you have to be. No, 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 no. There's never you have to be. You just be. And also,
Yeah.
you don't need to no one needs to understand it. It's for that person and that person they deem to be with. Like, what they choose has nothing to do with you. Unless they're trying to crack onto you and you're saying no, they aren't taking the hint. That's the only way that it comes into you.
Yeah.
But I like the term, it triggers some people because it's been disrespectful to everyone by blurring in each letter and not saying it individually. But I like saying it as LGBTQ.
Yeah.
The LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as demonstrations of pride always get the response of, well, I'm straight. When do I get my straight day? Or
Every
straight
day.
month or straight parade? I'm like,
Every day.
have you ever faced persecution or had to guard your sense of identity purely because of who you are? Have you ever had to do that? Well, no. Well, in that case, you don't get a fucking day.
Yeah.
You don't get a month.
Jason had that conversation with his old co-workers back in Christchurch. Both his GM, the GM of Novotel and Ibis in Christchurch City Central was straight.
Yeah.
And everybody else that he worked with was straight as well. And they all done so when do we get a straight day? When do we get to like it?
Every single fucking day is your day.
And he just he gave up trying to explain it, and I was like, you don't even need to justify it. Like, just say, "Well, there's a Pride Day. Come if you want." And he's like,
I think
I should have." And it's like you're fighting a idiot, and you're losing.
I think if you know they're an idiot, sure, but there are genuinely some people that are genuinely like going, I just don't, I'm not too sure, because maybe they're not part of it and they're not there, but I tend to kind of have the idea of, okay, when do I get my straight day? Well, when you get persecuted for being straight, then you get to have a parade or a month to celebrate no longer having persecution. To celebrate rising up and fighting and defending for your community and being able to embrace and live proudly and freely for who you are. Just in the same way that there's Black History Month in the States. Oh, when do I get my white month? Well, when you're persecuted and prosecuted for being white, and then you finally face that, fight that, and rise up above it, you get your month. But until you get the persecution, you've got nothing to fight against. And if you've got nothing to fight against, you've got nothing to deserve a pride period for.
Yeah.
And some people, like I said, some people genuinely just don't understand. They may not have people that are part of the queer community with them. And so, like, when I won my BSAsh, and people still take the piss out of me for always having it in my sash, I do what the fuck I want. I wore that thing everywhere. Absolutely fucking everywhere. I wore it.
Yeah.
I wore it across the country. I wore it to the top of Cape Townga one day and wore it so much on that day without sunscreen that I got a sash tan line. I wore it in Australia. I wore it in Bali. I wore it I wore it in the sauna in Melbourne. In the
Yeah.
sauna. Not just two. In the sauna.
Wonderful.
Um, also did that in Auckland on the night that I won too, to say. But I wore it everywhere.
Mm.
And the amount of conversations I had from people going, hey, just wondering, what is this? Oh, well, I'm the title holder of Mr. New Zealand Beer 2019, and that's to represent the bigger, burlier, often hairier, all stereotypically, a queer, male-identifying people of New Zealand. Oh wow. Thought it might have been like a misspelling of like, you like to drink beer. But having those conversations, like these are, seriously, so many people. When I was doing the Cape Marie Van Diemen walk at the top of the North Island, there was a family from Australia that came up and they're like, oh, we're just really sorry, we keep seeing you, but we've been meaning, what is this? And had a great chat with them. And they're like, oh, we've got family members in Sydney that are part of the queer community. Like, just having conversations, people, again, we all find it really easy to go, oh, they're stupid colleagues. They want this straight day. Oh, they're all horrible. It's easy to come to that, but that's still like I like to have faith in people. It's like the worst 10% of people that are close-minded, bigoted, angry, hateful, spiteful. The majority of people are actually good-willed and not complete arseholes. And when they have a question and they don't know, they're genuinely wanting an answer. And if they decide to deal with that by being a complete wanker, then sure, good on them. They can fuck right off. And that's their journey. But at least there's an opportunity to engage with people in a positive way, which might have some positive flow-on effects down the stream from that. You never know. But life is too short to get angry about stuff and to be an absolute asshole. Like, I'm just like, oh, Destiny Church, are you just all riled up so you like build tumors in your body so you just die faster to go meet Jesus? Like, really? Stop being so angry. Like, you can literally make heaven is a place on earth, really. But yeah, having conversations, I think, is really, really important. Just so people know, in terms of a queer space, know what it is and know that there's a place for anyone, regardless of how they identify. And you mentioned before that like people understand that like think the LGBTQI is kind of like focused on trans and gay. Bi erasure is a massive thing. Like people are like, I think it was a Will and Grace. It's like, oh, bi. So that's like the Ricky Martinville stop on the train to Elton John land. Which I think it's kind of funny. Like the phrase is funny, but the issue that is genuinely not funny. But people, I think, also disconnect or don't realize that kind of the acronym of representing orientation can also be different. It also has representations of identity and sense of self. And your orientation is not intrinsically linked to your identity. They are separate things, and one does not. They influence, and I'm never going to deny that. I'm sure there's influence between the two, but they are not dependent on each other. Like, and those who aren't part of the queer community, obviously they haven't really had to kind of like even address, let alone resolve that. So it's understandable there can be a confusion going, wait, so you were born male, but now you're female, so you're a trans woman, but you shifted, but beforehand when you're a man, you liked members of the opposite sex. So shouldn't you like men now, and shouldn't you still be straight? Well, some people may, when they transition, may shift their orientation. Others might go, no, I'm me as a person, regardless of what body I'm in. Me as a person, me being in the body I was born with that I'm not comfortable with, or that I'm not meant to be in, or me as the trans woman in the body in the shell that I'm meant to be in, regardless of which of those, still like women. And I think members of that kind of white picket fence heteronormative box group that have never had to or had much exposure to it, genuinely the ones that aren't arseholes, that the ones that aren't the 10% of arseholes and wankers, genuinely are just trying to understand.
Mm. Yeah, true.
Yeah, and I think that often when people in our community do get approached to kind of fill in the blanks or to just have a conversation,
Mm.
I think a lot of people in the community, and I'm going to be horribly millennial stereotypical here, but when Gen Zs are asked, instantly they're like, oh, triggered. Oh, you can't ask that. That is offensive. Like, calm down.
Yeah,
Don't get your heckles up. Like,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
someone coming to you because they may not have other sources of information, because let's be fair, the internet is not a pure source
Trustworthy.
of trustworthy content, depending on your news sources and feeds and what platform you use,
Yeah.
Elon Musk. But like, if take someone's intent, like, I'm a firm believer that not everyone will have the language tools or
Mm.
like not everyone will have the right words. I don't have the right words. No one has the right words all the time. However, as long as we're being human and respectful, we can still take someone's intent. So
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
someone's
yeah.
approaching and they're delivering in a respectful way and they're like, look, I really don't know the words, blah, 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 that person's not being a wanker.
Mm.
So don't jump down their throat about them being offensive. Like, they're just trying to learn and be part of a wider community.
Mm.
Yeah. Take someone's intent. Like, I love my mother to pieces. However, she has the delivery of a steamroller sometimes. It's off par and could be deemed very offensive.
Yeah.
But if you take the way that it is delivered, the delivery and the intent of it,
Mm-hmm.
that lets you ride through occasionally incredibly poor lack of technique.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's the essence of where someone's coming from that I think is really important.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
We all be in this world together.
Yeah, yeah. Let's all hold hands and ride this
Kumbaya.
thing. Yeah.
Kumbaya fucking ya.
If you were to say something to you from the past or anybody else, what would it be? Like somebody that's trying to figure out themselves or trying to accept the way of themselves. What would words
I
of
would
encouragement
say there is no manual, there's no prescribed manual or rules or laws on how things should happen and when they should happen.
be? Yeah.
Pick your own timeline. Just focus on being okay with where you are in that moment and focus on and also maintaining your safety.
Yeah.
So if you need to remove, your camera's just gone off. Oh, there we go. Like, oh, I need to see your beautiful face. But yeah, I think first and foremost is your be mindful and aware and do what you need to maintain your own safety.
Yeah, yeah,
Because there are many people in situations that aren't safe. And I think it's very obvious when you're with queer people versus a group of straight people. Say if you're like walking down the street with them, the radius of kind of situational awareness that queer people have, like they'll be looking 200, 300 meters down the road and assessing everything that's there around them, whereas straight people will be like 20 to 50 meters.
Yeah, yeah.
Be like, oh, what issue? Like that one that's down the road that we've already spotted. Purely because it's been kind of that need for self-protection just has been driven into us. So our range of like observing things to stay safe is bigger.
Yeah.
But maintaining safety is really important because how can you get to learn yourself if you aren't safe? But also there's no set timeline there's no prescribed way, there's no better way. Everyone has their own journey, but just follow your own timeline. That's for sure. There are so many people that I have a lot of very close friends who follow their own timeline through various reasons and then end up coming out later in life after they've kind of been married in a straight sense and had children and families, and they've come out later.
Yeah,
So, and some might go, oh, how could you? Oh, it's their life.
yeah.
They picked their
Like
time.
I feel like there's some like there are people that still want the, I don't know, the American dream. If there is
Oh,
one,
yeah,
the
completely.
white picket fence, the family of like two kids with a partner and a dog or cat or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah,
eh. Like you can have all of that, but like,
absolutely. You
just
can still
yeah,
you can have that, and it's a lot easier to have that in a queer sense now, especially in New Zealand.
mm,
Um, it's and especially with things like adoption. Like I'm actually another thing, just to like toot my own trumpet a little bit. When I was working in the family court, I worked for a while in adoptions, and at that time, the Ministry of Justice had a policy that if you were a homosexual couple and neither were related to the child, and this is from the the guidelines on how to accept applications, then the application needs to be rejected based on the very old adoption legislation that we have.
yeah,
However, I had adoption come across my desk one day, homosexual men, a child to be adopted that wasn't biologically related to either of them.
mm,
However, they were married. And I went, actually, I'm going to use my registrar's powers, my quasi-judicial powers. I'm accepting this application.
yeah,
And other colleagues in justice were like, no, you can't. The rules say, like, the law says a married couple.
mm,
This is a married couple. I'm accepting this. Only a judge can override my decision.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, so I accepted that, and it followed its due process, and then that became the precedent-setting case for New Zealand for queer adoption of a child that was not biologically related to either parent, and
yeah,
that's kind of massive. And like that was me. I'm really, really proud of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I remember reading their application like, whew, I wish these two would adopt me. Like they were pretty flush.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I just remember going, no, they're married. The law says this, so actually I'm accepting it, and you can't call that as an employment issue or like my performance is poor because actually I'm using my decisions as part of the judiciary. So no.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and even the judge that kind of when he finally that made the final order and when he signed that off and was advised that it had set precedent, even his response was, "What? This hasn't happened before. That's weird.
yeah,
This shouldn't be this. The fact that this is an issue, it shouldn't be an issue. Seriously, it's
yeah,
no brainer." Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but with countries like New Zealand, we have mechanisms that allow queer families to exist and people that are part of the queer community to be able to follow that kind of I I want the family because you can have that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Go get it.
yeah,
And that's something where we are very blessed in this country. But not all countries are like that.
yeah,
And it's challenging. And I'm always very mindful of the fact that we do have situations here that give us a lot of freedom
mm,
versus other parts of the world. And I'm very, very thankful for that. Um,
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
everyone has their own time and everyone has their own journey. So if you want the family, fine, pursue that. If you're not ready to pursue the family in a queer identity sense, but you think you might be able to, you be healthy and happy to be able to do that in a possibly not completely authentic, but in a straight sense, sure, do that. I hope that you find a partner that you can actually be honest with who you are, that will still accept
Mm,
you for who you are, and you can both find a way forward together in that space. But be safe, follow your own timeline. And I think thirdly, one third will be find people that you can that you've known for a long time that also know you, that you know have your best interests, that you can trust
yeah,
to talk with, to bounce ideas from, yeah, having that support. And then probably fourth would be if you are on a journey of self-discovery,
Mm-hmm.
find ways to integrate or to have exposure with the queer community. Because it's all well and good to to go, oh, follow your journey, but if you don't really know if the only messages you had that being queer means being a degenerate, being a lowlife, being a dropkick, being someone that's going straight to hell, if that's all you've had and that you don't know anyone from that community, then you're just going to be spiraling in a sense of self-loathing and
Mm,
self-hatred. Whereas if you actually, hence my experience, finally getting to meet members of the community and going, these great people, their
yeah.
orientation doesn't, your orientation does not define you.
Yeah.
Um, I think that was a really, really healthy stepping stone for my journey,
Mm,
was meeting people from the community. So even if it's just like going to a pride parade, an easy way to be like, if you're in the closet, I'm presenting as being straight, I'm just being an ally in this moment. That's a start,
yeah.
definitely. Especially because considering that there are other forums of like gay interaction or queer interaction, like apps and stuff for meeting people,
Yeah.
where that can be incredibly toxic and does not highlight the positive parts of queer community.
Mm,
And if someone's in the closet and their only exposure is kind of through apps, pornography, and negative stereotypes that they've heard from the groups that they're part of, then that's just a recipe for really unhealthy interactions, but also unhealthy development of a sense of self.
mm, yeah. Um, yeah. Wow. There's a lot of people that I guess would experience being gay or whatever through apps rather than like yeah um rather than just doing life, like getting out there, enjoying life.
And
Um,
it's a hard thing to do if you're not fully realized and out.
yeah.
So that's a place, I guess, for people to explore beforehand.
Mm,
But that's, I think, really only exploring more in a kind of a sexual orientation type of way,
yeah. Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than an exploration of self kind of way.
Yeah. Like I remember when I was single, um, like yeah, jumping on the app. Pretty much everybody just looked at you like you're a piece of meat, really. Yeah.
New mate, new mate.
Like, yeah, you could go to a new city and then boom, just get hit up by like 100 people or whatever. And then it's like, like for me, that wasn't really what I wanted as like to be as a human, was just looked at as like, oh, people just want me for sex or whatever. Like
Yeah,
this, yeah. So, I kind of made the conscious decision to just like find like a meaningful interaction with people.
yeah,
And then yeah, with like meeting Jason and stuff, we went for a walk around the park at night just to talk and all that stuff, and then we went
definitely.
to Castle Hill, whatever. And then I was like, boom, there you go. Like, and
Yeah,
then yeah, we started hanging out, and then that's what was like kind of cool, was like and then he's also brought like I've gotten to experience a lot more of being like gay, not in the
yeah,
sense like um I get to enjoy going to pride parades and watching drag queens be
yeah,
themselves.
totally.
I get to go to like like dance parties, gay centric dance parties where people just dress up however they want to be.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And in my head, I'm just like, be who you want to be. Like, do whatever
Be
you
who you
want
want
to
to
do
be.
in your
Be who
life.
you want to be. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah. And then what's the famous line from RuPaul? If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else?
Can I get an amen? Amen. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard, or
and
especially I think meeting people can be a challenge,
mm,
and then having the extra layer on top of that, people not really knowing who they all are or being part of the
mm,
community. Like you see so many, like on apps, you see so many faces profiles or like straight and down low, and then even their language is things like, "Don't worry, bro, I'm clean." And like, if you're using language in terms like clean, that and by default, if you're using language like that, then I'm going to completely doubt that you're on top of the play of your sexual health and wellness. So
yeah,
no. Um, but also, yeah, if you're not in a space where you can,
sorry, yeah,
eh, all good. If you're not in a space where you can actually just represent yourself and just show a face back, like,
yeah,
then I'm gonna doubt your capability to do things. So like end of the day, my health and wellness is my priority.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I'm not going to risk that on someone being like, no, I'm clean. Like even that language is just so outdated, old fashioned and just backward. It shows
yeah. Mm,
where that person is currently, and not liking that. Equally, things, because I remember on your form, like things that give you the ick, I was like, things that give me the ick is if I see like 5 or 6 photos. It's good having more photos, but 5 or 6 photos, and they're all like the same facial expression.
mm,
Especially if there aren't any photos that include their teeth, because I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah, yeah.
assume that you're like
You got
completely you're gummy
the
or something. Um, if they're all like
yeah,
it's kind of like the in Zoolander. It's like when Derek Zoolander's like, I really like the calendar. It showed more of my versatility, and it's literally the same blue steel face but with different colored backgrounds.
yeah,
That's what it reminds me of. I'm like, that's not showing anything of you. That's just showing, like, you could have just shown one photo. It would be the same
yeah.
as all 5.
My ick was like, um, say you're talking to an older person and they show you their profile picture is of them when they were like 20. I'm like,
That's fair.
you don't look like that. Like,
Although, to be fair, I
update
would
us.
say that the
Yeah.
profile, the main profile picture for mine is from my campaign for Mr. New Zealand Bear for 2019.
Mm,
However, I will say I was at the beach, and with the angle and the lighting, it does still look the same as my face now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, but like, yeah, when I was single and stuff, hey, I would come up across like people that say they're like 48, and then in their photo they don't look 48. They look like younger than 48, and
Oh
then they
yeah,
show you a photo of them. Like you'll go, oh, can I get a face pic? Like a recent one, and then they
yep,
show you, and it's like, whoa, like
yeah. So shit photos. So I'm going to say shit photos, or lots of photos with the same, or like outdated
mm,
photos, photos with the same expression, no photo having a smile, like an actual like teethy smile.
yeah,
Um,
them just like staring blankly at the
um,
camera.
yeah,
Yeah.
blank photos with no profiles with no pics, and profiles with like really outdated, antiquated language,
Mm,
especially when it comes to health and wellness. Um, and then also things that give me that like the act of like, oh, is I'm a millennial. Give me some full stops and capitalization.
mm.
Give me a nice apostrophe in a
Give me all of that
your
good grammar.
you are give me grammar and syntax. Oh,
Yeah,
grammar
yeah,
and
yeah.
syntax. That and also give me a link to your Instagram.
So, and then they have the link and it's private, and you're like,
Oh, it's
all right,
like
all right
yeah,
then. Like,
like
um,
I mean each to
ah,
their own for their journey, but yeah, it just yeah, and the ones that are like in terms of conversation, oh hey sup hey. Generally, if people engage with more than that, then I'll be like, hi, how you going?
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember talking to someone that we both know when I first met them in Christchurch.
Mm-hmm.
they came up to me and were like, I was like, oh, hey, I really hope you guys have a really, really wonderful day today for your event. And they turned to me and were like, oh, yeah, when I was in Tauranga, I messaged you on Scruff and you didn't say hi. I was like,
Oh my
uh,
god.
that was literally the first thing that they said to me in response to my, hi,
No,
I hope you
no
guys have a
other.
really great night.
Yeah.
And I responded with, well, you must have just said hi or sup or hey because I don't respond to those. You need to be a little
Yeah.
bit more engaging. But
My
they were
one would
really
be.
offended.
Yeah. I think my other one would be when somebody says, "Hey, bro," like when the like on yeah when on the apps and stuff, they're like, "Hey, bro, how are you?" Or "Hey, bro, wanna." I'm like, "Don't call me bro if you want to get in my pants," type of thing. Like that
Yeah.
was when I was thinking, it was like I hated it. Like anybody that said bro or like yeah, anybody that said bro or like brother or mate or
Yeah.
man. Like I always did it anyway, but like when other people did it to me, I was just like, nah. I mean, like if you send me a photo, then I'm all good with it. But like, call me like,
Question.
hey, but
Would it, does it give you more ick if it's from a white guy than from someone that's Māori or Pacifica?
sometimes, yeah. Like
Yeah, yeah.
with Pacifica and Maldives and stuff, it's like kind of generally like acceptable. I'm like, we haven't really, our vocabulary hasn't come out of that. Out of the, hey, bro, how are you? Or what are you up to?
Oh,
It's like,
actually something
yeah.
in that space, something that does I've only had it a few times, but each time I've been like, fuck off, has been when people are like, so what are you? I'm like, what do you mean? Because basically I look like a white guy with a tan. Like, I know that.
Mm,
That's fine. But I'm very proudly Māori. Um, but I get people go, oh, what are you? Where are you from? I'm like,
yeah,
oh, Jesus. Like, who gives a shit?
yeah,
Really? Absolutely. You shouldn't. So, A, I'm Māori. B, I'm from New Zealand. And
mm, that's it.
so what? What with it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and then there would be the people that mistake me for being like Tongan or Samoan. I'm like, where do you get that from? Like, it's your nose. I'm like, I know it's my nose, but like, why would you insinuate that I am that rather than like being Māori? They're like, oh no, you just look. And I'm like, all right, this conversation's getting boring. So
Like, oh my God. Like, seriously,
yeah,
just, or find a different way to ask the question. Like,
yeah.
that's not as, just be like, hey, I'm just really intrigued. What's your, like, cultural background?
Mm.
Boom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
Like,
I think my greatest ick on apps was like when somebody just shows their asshole. I'm like,
oh, I mean,
I'm like, stop.
I'm always like, whatever you've got from, like, the neck down, I can deal with.
Yeah,
I've seen it all before, and I can deal with it. What I
I
want to
just
see
want to
is
see
from
your
the,
face. Yeah.
yeah, and like that's what I get a sense of connection to. And people are, oh, what's your type? I'm like, I either go, yep, or I don't. Like I feel a connection, or I don't. So when it comes
Mm.
to like the swipey game on Scruff, like the matchy game, it's literally for me like a, it's a quick,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe a scroll through photos to just
yeah. Mm.
confirm. But genuinely, it's just that kind of that gut feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I always, yeah. That was always one massive ick was just like, yeah. When they don't even say hi or anything, it's just a straight out like bang, but it's like
Yeah,
next
I'm like,
or mute or block. Or they'll say then like they don't say anything else. They're like, I'm ready now. Come over. It's like if that's all you have to offer, then there's like no point. Well, for me it
ah,
was. I wanted to like talk, like say, hey, how's it going? So I can actually gather some sense of like as you say, chemistry. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, completely. I think also people that just don't get the hint. So like lots of people
What just
like
say, hey, hey, hey,
the
hey, hey,
haze,
hey.
hey, but also even if people are a little more engaging, and if I'm say not interested or not
Mm,
really kind of my flavor, um, I'll just be like, hey, just having a good day, tuning in, all the best, happy hunting, all the best for your hunt.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
like,
Like,
oh,
oh.
but what's wrong? Oh, well, no, that's me for the day. Full stop.
Yeah,
No more engaging. Just like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
blunt, but still not getting the. And even after going, hey, like, I will message people that don't get that hint of like I'm really flattered, but I'm not that interested or not really looking at this moment.
Yeah,
Most of them will be like, cool, thanks, awesome, all the best. But you still get like that 10% that are like, oh, why? What's wrong? Rah, rah.
yeah.
Dude,
Just leave it.
tell me if I'm actually being gracious and polite,
Mm,
um, and acknowledging, like, I'm flattered, like, obviously, completely.
yeah,
Um, but also take the hint. It's not even a hint. Take the directive and take
yeah,
it elsewhere. Yeah.
yeah,
So, yes.
yeah. Yeah. All yeah. Apps are just dumb. I feel like
I mean,
like it's good if you want to like just get the sex over and done with. But then like yeah, when you have to like meet new people and then all you think is I might jump on the app. It's like why don't you just go use your gator and go out to a pub or something? Talk to
well,
people and if
that's,
they yeah.
that's, again, depending on where you are and how
Mm,
your location, your region, but also the places and the patrons that are there, and also how secure you are in yourself. Like when I was at Justice, I went out for Friday drinks with colleagues to the Empire Tav,
mm,
and saw a guy there. I was like, oh, he's gorgeous, and kept checking him out and stuff. And then I ended up going up to him, and they're like, oh, is he gay? I'm like, I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I think he's really attractive, so I'm going to go up and go say hi. And we ended up having a chat with him, and he was family, and
mm,
he ended up mentioning that had just started in Auckland and he was working at TVNZ. And I knew his first name, and then because I'm slightly skilled at finding things online, I then found
mm.
him on socials and messaged him. And it turns out he actually just moved up to Auckland to be a news presenter for TVNZ. Um, but it's a fair amount of self-awareness and self-fortitude. That could have been some random super homophobic guy,
Yeah,
um, and having this stranger of me going up and going, hey, I just want to say, I think you're really attractive. Um, that could have gone really badly. So there's a lot of kind of potential fear, um, for people who aren't as secure to do something like that.
yeah,
So it's a
yeah,
hard one. Whereas being straight, you can just be like, I'm a guy, she looks hot, blah blah blah. I like cars, and here's my big fish photo. Like
yeah, yeah,
it's a lot easier, because we aren't yet in a world where no one has an issue with orientation.
yeah.
So I
What's
think
that?
there's still a place for apps, but
Yeah, I think what's that talked about? Like, going up to somebody and meeting them, kind of like takes me back to that like incident at like Family Bar or GRY Family, where that dude like
yeah,
got beaten up. Like it was, yeah, it looked like a hate crime. May have been a hate crime, but like, yeah, I was just like in my head, I'm like, what did both of them do to actually get into that sort of position?
I would
Like,
give
it's
the
not like,
whether it was fueled by hatred or not, regardless, it
yeah,
was an extreme act of violence, and there is
mm,
no space for that in our society.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, I had seen comments of people going, "Oh yeah, but it's Saturday, and everyone knows that's the straight night." I'm like, this is a queer venue, fuck off.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know that as a venue, end of the day, $1's a dollar, whether it's pink dollar, who gives a shit as long as it's legal tender.
Mm,
And that is the way that a lot of venues, especially large multi-venues, have taken. It did
mm,
also remind me, when this came out, I had completely forgotten that years beforehand, I had left a friend's stag night, and it was November the 5th. It was Skyforks night, so it was quite busy. I had been sober at the stag party, and I caught up with a friend of mine, and we went down to GAY and ordered our standard drink. And the duty manager there went to charge us like an exorbitant amount more, and we're like, nah, this is the same drink we get like every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so
yeah.
no. And he ripped my friend's wallet out of my mate's hand, and then I was like, that's not on. I grabbed it off him, and then he, with his other hand, punched me in the side of my face. This is the duty manager. And then I was like, fuck this. So we left, went up to the street. I called the cops to report assault. And then there were some officers they're like, oh, we'll send some officers. And then some walked past an hour later. No one had yet arrived. And I went, oh, you guys here to investigate the report of assault that I called in an hour ago? And they're like, nah. And they kept walking. Eventually I was like, actually, screw this. I'll just report tomorrow. So I went home. And the next day I went to the police station and reported it, and they're like, yeah, there's not really anything we can do. It sounds like you're kind of part of it. I'm like, I was sober, I was wanting my first drink, and he punched me with a closed fist into the side of my face. I'm bruised right now.
Yeah.
Nothing came of that, but that just kind of, that more recent event that happened there reminded me of that, and how there hasn't really been any shift in attitude or culture apart from let's expand and get more straight people in because they seem to be the ones that are now spending, because for some reason the queer audience no longer likes going to our venues.
Mm. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, the queer audience are the ones that actually have more money to be able to spend if they like it and are happy.
Yeah. I think that's why like some businesses like hosting parties for like the community. Because like we spend
we drink venues dry.
Yeah. Like we have more people that come to those venues, and then like they end up with no alcohol left on the.
Absolutely and completely. But yeah, for like queer spaces, just advertised New Zealand's premier and largest gay bar. Yeah, you can say that, and sure, it probably is the largest. But if you're looking at the percentage of patrons, whether they're part of the LGBTQ or other communities, I'm pretty sure the shift is more to other these days.
Yeah.
It's definitely not what it used to be. And that's also fine. However, I think things not being how they used to be is really only valid and right when it's moving in a positive direction for the community that they're riding on the backs of. You can't say you're a gay bar if you actively do things to degrade and denigrate and compromise the safety of the people that are letting you say you're a gay bar.
Yeah.
That's it, really. Like, pay your fucking dues. You say you're a gay bar, then be a fucking gay bar.
Yeah.
Don't let straight violence. And sure, you might have that argument of people going, yeah, but how can you tell people are straight or gay coming into a venue? Well, you can't. But you can tell when someone's walking in and their attitude and their intent and their air is to be an asshole that's going to start some trouble. You can see that. You can absolutely see it. You can be a venue that goes, okay, look, we can't police people coming in and what they're going to do. However, we can be a venue that if you see something, you say something, and we will do something. If you have a venue that, like, as a queer person, if I knew that that was a venue where if I saw any issue or any trouble, feels like I could report it and it wouldn't be just rubbed under a rug and it would be treated with the due care that it deserves, happily go there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that other people would, and that means that there wouldn't be trouble because they'd be like, no, stop, get rid of them. No, no.
Yeah.
It's a place where people, and even, oh, but you're getting rid of the gay people. Well, if they've been reported for some behaviour that means they're being aggressive, being an arsehole, then they need to fuck off.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And it will just create a safer space for everyone, gay and straight.
Mm. Yeah.
So, but that's, as we've seen, that is not a reputation that the family complex has. They have do they have a reputation of people coming in and starting trouble? Absolutely. Do they have a reputation of people reporting it? Absolutely. Do they have a reputation of people having their valid concerns being validly addressed? Fuck no. And that is what puts our community in harm and danger's way. And that is why we don't spend there. That is why our money goes elsewhere. And that is why, ultimately, as a queer venue, that place will one day, well, actually, let's be fair, it will last forever, but one day it will just have the reputation of no one goes there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Fun times.
Very fun. Yeah.
What else do you have questions for?
Hold on. Should I read them? Star signs.
I'm a
What
Capricorn.
is your desired star sign?
Well, as a Capricorn with a Libra moon and a Pisces rising. Pisces rising. There's a Pisces and Libra in the other two as well, because I remember hearing some other queer people talking about it. I'm like, what the fuck are those things? So yeah, apparently there's Libra and Pisces in there, so hence why I'm like a stereotypical Capricorn, but also a total hippie at the same time. I guess. Ideal star sign, not a Leo, because they generally, from my own experience, we clash because we both like the attention. Although, like, I'm a scientist through and through, and scientist and logical. I think star signs are absolutely ridiculous. However, I do think they're also really hilarious and they're kind of fun. And it's a place to explore self. Actually, that'll be like number 6 or 7 on the list of advice. Read things like horoscopes and do the Myers-Briggs test, because it's a way of going, is this something that I gravitate to? Is this something, it's a safe space to explore self-reflection. And it's a fun way to explore self-reflection. And if you're reflecting on self, then it's also a way to find who you are to be able to move forward. So yeah, delve in the world of star signs, even if you think they're bullshit. It's still just kind of fun. Some of my best friends are also Capricorns. Sagittarius. I'm a Capricorn. Everyone's great as long as they're switched on and have a 401k. Like, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. It's all fun. Although I would say that it's nice having friends that have birthdays earlier, like in the winter season. So you get events to go to, like birthday parties during winter, but also as a Capricorn with his birthday on the 29th of December, it is bloody hard to organize events. Especially growing up, it was really, really hard because all your friends have gone away for holidays for Christmas and New Year's with their families. And so I didn't really have many birthday parties while I was growing up. The flip side, though, is now as an adult, it's actually kind of cool because I tend to be away for Christmas and New Year's with my friends that I would want to be with on my birthday, and they happen to be there. And I think that's something that's really very cool. So I guess, yeah, as long as people aren't dicks, they're fine. They're all good. I don't mind too much about the star sign part.
Yeah. What would your love language be though?
I was thinking about that earlier today, actually. I think my love language would be acts of service. in terms of what I do to express my love and affection for other people.
Yeah.
But in terms of love languages that I more openly receive is probably just contact, like contact and touch. Um, yeah, I also cannot remember any of the other ones. So gifts,
Yeah.
gift giving, acts of service, touch, and there's something else. Or not
Time.
time.
Yeah,
Oh,
time
time.
speaks.
Actually, it would be mine towards others to express my own affection would be acts of service, and for myself, for receiving affection, expressions of affection would definitely be
Mm.
touch, but also time. I really, really value time with other people.
Yeah.
Um, I don't, I mean, let's be fair, everyone loves gifts, but I don't need them to get a sense of appreciation. Um, I do really value simply being asked, is there anything I can do to help?
Mm.
Most of the time, and seriously, most of the time, all I say, I'm fine, thank you. But just being asked,
Yeah.
just asking, knowing, okay, you're acknowledging that either I'm doing something or that there's something you might be able to help with. Just that in itself, I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Um, and also, to be fair, when I'm asked, most of the time, I'd probably just come back saying, actually, can you just get me a glass of water? Um,
Yeah.
That'd be great. It would be fantastic. But yeah, time I think is really, really valuable, and touch. Just like I've noticed it more through years, and probably more so since I came out as well. And I'll probably say probably one of my love languages is also touch, to the degree of like when I'm with friends and even acquaintances, but I do kind of like I'll touch a shoulder or like,
Mm.
and I've noticed it more since I've come out and being more secure with who I am, like that
Yeah.
kind of ability to touch that has developed and grown. Um, and I guess having a stronger sense of self means if things go completely south, then you're able to take that on the chin a lot easier,
Yeah.
I guess, as well. But yeah, definitely touch and time, and asking how can you help. Those are things that really give value and meaning, convey value and meaning from someone else to me,
Yeah.
which is nice. And I'm always like, can I make something? Can I do something? Oh, you need this. I will find XYZ for you. Like, my mum had a car battery that would died 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Needed a replacement, so I managed to find a replacement, but also get it price matched, and then drive and get it. Well, actually, price beaten by Super Cheap Auto.
Mm-hmm.
So and then also not only went and picked it up, but also installed it, realized the terminals were the wrong size, then got terminal adapters, and then took to the connections in the car with my angle grinder to cut part of the connector to be able to make it all fit. Things like that. That's how I express
Yeah.
love. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. How about you? What are yours?
Time spent and I don't know. Well, I always gravitate to gift giving. Like that's my thing. It's like I like giving people something. Like even if it's if I shout them food or um yeah. Like I'll just say, oh, come, come hang out with me for the day. I'll shout you food. I'll drive you everywhere you need to go. Like
Yeah,
just yeah. That's my
I
yeah. That's what I like to do. It's
I like that.
it's not
I
like
think
nurturing, but it's also like just yeah, seeing a smile on somebody's face.
I think I do that to a lesser degree, but I think
Mm,
I class that as kind of acts of service. Like
yeah.
I'll pick flowers from the garden and take them out to people, or I'll like when I'm dropping by, I'll just be like, oh, here's some plum jam I made the other day. Like
Mm,
I don't. It's not really. I mean, while it is a gift, it's more like a here's something. The intent of it is I'm not giving you a gift to make for the sake of the gift. The
Yeah.
intent of those items and those offerings is this is something for in the service of making your day brighter or making your breakfast more nutritious. Like
Mm.
it's the intent of it isn't that I've given you a gift. It's I'm trying to serve you by making your life better. So yeah.
Yeah, like I remember the day I brought Jason Apple Watch, the Ultra, when it first came out. Like we were
Ooh.
talking about it for ages, like, and he's like, "Oh, this is so cool! You can like read your EKGs, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and all that stuff." And he's had it for since 2022,
Yeah.
but almost like 3 years. And yeah, like I was like, "Here, close your eyes, put out your hand." And he's like, what? And I was like, "Just do it." Gave it to him,
Ooh.
and like, 'cause, yeah, I'm like one of those. It brings me joy as well, just to like give somebody something. And it's like you didn't need to,
I,
and then that kind of like broke me a bit. I was like, man, you could have been like appreciative about it.
I do
So
like
like,
organizing surprises for people. I love organizing surprises. Like I've organized a lot of
mm,
surprise birthdays and like surprising mum with tickets to things and like I've surprised other friends with yeah, bless you, with Easter egg hunts and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I I love doing things like that because I love seeing kind of the sense of the
mm,
joy and the fun and excitement of an
yeah,
experience. I think life is about experiences. Definitely. It's not the amount of money or anything, it's about the experiences that you take in those connections. And I
mm-hmm,
think that's really important. But I just love organizing surprises for people. It's so
yeah,
fun. It just and it's not really I mean, it's for someone, but I don't see it as being a gift. I see it more as an excuse to spend time, but
mm,
also it's in a way a kind of an act of service because it's acknowledging how important someone is to you, but also doing something for them
mm,
rather than giving someone something. It's doing something for them. It's taking them out for an experience. It's showing them theatre. It's showing them dinner or a great time. It's yeah,
yeah,
acts of service.
yeah. I like, yeah, I don't know. I get weirded out when people say like, "Oh, like they take me out." I'm like, I kind of just want to chill. And then they're like, "Oh, but we should go watch this, or we should go see a show at the theater." I'm like, if it's funny, yeah, all good. Like, what's the? Oh, because we went out, me, Jason, and his sister, and like her family went and watched Little Shop of Horrors
Yeah.
in Eddington and Christchurch, and it was like, they're like, "Oh, did you like it?" I was like, "Yeah." Well, there was a drag queen. And like it was just camp as hell. And like that's like if it's funny for me or if it's
Yeah.
entertaining for me, I'm more inclined to like enjoy it rather than if somebody goes, "Oh, let's go for a cruise." Like not a cruise, but like we went to Akaroa in Christmas, and like Jason's sister went out, and she's like, "Oh, we're gonna do a cruise, go see some dolphins, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, I only wanted to go for food, like go to Akaroa just for fish and chips, and just like to chill out there.
Yeah.
And then when she like it kind of annoyed me when she hijacked it, and she's like, "Oh, let's do this cruise." I was like, "Why don't we
Yeah,
just go for the
this is
sake
my
of
time. I don't want that.
yeah?" And so like she's like, "Oh, how was it?" I was like, "Yeah, it was alright." Like it
Yeah.
wasn't great for me because like yeah, we got to past the harbour area,
Yeah.
and then like going out into the open waters, and like you could see how drastic the shift in um, currents and waves were. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like this. Like in my head, I'm like, there's 12 of us on this boat. If it capsizes, none of us have time to grab a life jacket,
Just put your life
type of
jacket on
thing.
and start.
yeah, and it's like, oh, if you feel like you need a life jacket, just put it on. And then I was like, okay, we'll just write it out. And then yeah, got to that right at the end, and it's like the waves started going bigger, like 2 meters high. I was like,
Nah.
ah, it's like no. And then everybody started jumping up and like walking. I'm like, bro, you're gonna like make this boat flip over or something like that. And I was like, yeah, nah, I don't like that. So yeah, when she goes, oh, how was it? How did you like it? I was like, it was alright. No, it wasn't
No. It's
anything
alright.
special.
It wasn't anything that, excuse the pun, but it wasn't anything that floated my boat.
Yeah, so like yeah, when people try to do like that, like if that's their way of showing affection or like it just has to be like entertaining. Like I can't stand like doing cruises and it's just looking at water and listening to the person behind you, like the tour guide going, nah, this is this place and blah blah blah. Like,
What if it was a cruise, but it was like a party cruise and there's like a DJ and music playing as well?
I would have been up and dancing. No.
Yeah.
Like it has to like yeah, there has to be some sort of entertainment. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
if you're just sitting on a boat listening to somebody going, this is the marae on by the water. Blah blah blah. It's like, cool,
Yeah,
man.
I think I I love more like chilled out sedentary things. However, I think just in myself, and maybe it's the only child thing as well, possibly, but I can always entertain myself. So even if there's nothing happening, I can still just, I'd be like, internal Spotify, press play, boop, boop, and I get,
yeah,
like even before, and I was like, oh, rain. Like, I get distracted
yeah,
by things really, really easily, but I also I can find entertainment in even the most boring, dry, dull places. I'll just
yeah,
make it fun for myself.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Did you end up seeing any dolphins?
Yeah, two
Oh,
like
that's.
up close, but like yeah, there was one, and then it went down. So we were like, oh, we missed it, and then I think when we got out past the normal harbour area, that's
Yeah.
when they started showing themselves. But it wasn't like they weren't there a lot. It was just like they'll
Okay.
come by the boats and then go right under, and then that's it. And I was like, yeah, like, but
That's.
all I wanted was just ice cream and fish and chips, and that was it. Like, there was nothing I wanted to do. I like, they're like, oh, because all I said to them was, I want to do Akaroa, and then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we should do this, and I was like, I kind of just want to chill, and like, that's all I
Well,
wanted to do. That's
well, I guess next time if you're hybridizing ideas, order your fish and chips, take them on the boat, and take a chili bin with some ice cream, and that way you can like space out, and you can get like everything, and take a speaker.
yeah. But then like yeah, with so with Jason's sister, um she's that type of host that has to have something like ongoing. So you can't just sit in
Okay.
like if say we all sat in the lounge, she
Yeah.
would want to play games, card games or board games,
Time for
instead
games.
of everybody just like
If,
being on their phone or just looking at the wall. I'm like, I'd rather look at the wall sometimes. Like it's
just
not yeah, it's not like it's gonna um and like I'm too competitive to the point where if I'm losing I stop playing. Like I'm like, nah, I'm done. That's how
I'm
bad I get. So
I'm hyper competitive as well.
yeah,
I
so
think
it's like
actually
this yeah, if I'm losing then I'm like I'll give this like one more game and then and then I look at it, I'm like, no, that's too much stress.
actually on the list of important advice for people under the have people you can trust part, I'm going to add like a little sub clause of also people that you're perfectly fine just being in each other's company
yeah.
quiet. You don't have to be like engaging, like actually just going, I'm coming over, I'm going to have a cuppa. I just want to say, I don't want to talk,
Yeah.
but being with
We,
someone, being in someone's space and just having that kind of sense of support without actively engaging, like there's so much
mm,
power in that.
yeah.
So I'd add
And
that
like,
too.
yeah, I don't feel like people understand the tranquility of like just just being in total ambience of a person.
Yeah.
Like Jason can sit in the lounge and I can just sit there for ages, just looking at nothing. And he's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's just that like needing to be there in the present with that person. That's all I care about. I
I
don't
think
really, yeah,
some people haven't learnt the power of comfort in other people's silence.
Mm.
And so that leads them to drive to going, and like if you're sitting in a car traveling somewhere with someone that's like that and people are quiet and then all of a sudden they just have this like pressured drive to keep chatting. You're like,
yeah,
it's so good you don't have to.
yeah. Like Jason's sister is that like she'll do the just talk for the sake of talking. Like when we went to Akaroa, like we were walking from the car to the fish and chip spot, and like
Mm.
she's like, "Oh, nobody's talking. What's the matter?" I'm like, "We just want to walk. We don't want
Just
to
enjoying the
multitask.
space.
Yeah, we're enjoying the outdoors. We're like we're by the water. She's like, oh, it's just like nobody's talking, and it's like we don't have to talk." And then
Absolutely.
so she's one of those ones that like if she doesn't get her way, she starts crying, or not crying, but like
There's a shift in the atmosphere.
yeah, she'll have like a shift, and then it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, and in that sense, you have to like kind of accommodate everybody, but then I'm just like, man, I don't care. Like I'll stand back, watch you all walk past, and I'll look at the water. I'll look at the crabs
Yeah.
scurrying in the water or whatever. So yeah, and that's what I've always been like that. Though. I'm like, I don't like if you're gonna yeah, gonna do something for me. So like if anybody does anything for me, it's like, bro, just sit there. Sit there, have a cuppa. You can read, you can look at your phone. I don't care. Like,
So
yeah,
a man of contrast. Either if it's going to be chilled out, it needs to be chilled out,
yeah,
or if it's going to be something more active, make it fun and engaging and like stimulating active.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What kind of was it? But there was like a little buzzkill part in it. She's like, "Oh, let's go stare at like graveyards." I'm like,
Eh,
in my culture, we don't stare at graveyards. Like, that's
no,
just weird.
no, no, no. That's no. I can
Yeah, she's like, "Oh,
understand.
it's cool." It's like I don't even know these people, and you want me to stare at their graveyard, like the
I
place
can
that they rest. I'm
I
like,
can
that gives me.
understand, like, if you're in, like, there are some beautiful, beautiful cemeteries around, and I can
Mm,
understand if you're walking through and just appreciating the beauty of the space, but I'm not going to actively go and stop and then spend time, especially if I don't have any relatives there of my own, like,
mm. Oh,
it's,
sorry.
to me, that's a sacred space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And sacred spaces, even churches, I don't need to subscribe to religion to still respect that as someone else's sacred space, and there are just
Yeah.
things that you just don't do.
Yeah, she's like, because we went to the lighthouse in Akaroa, and like right across is the graveyard. And she's like,
Okay.
it's on a hill, it's nice and pretty. It's like, what's pretty about like a graveyard? That's where people die. Not people die, but like this is where people that have died come to lay and rest.
I guess like
And then she's
graveyards
like,
can be
but it's like,
pretty.
the scenic area would be nice, but it's like, in my with my feelings about that stuff, I'm like,
Hmm.
nah, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do that. Like, I'm sorry, but if you want to look at a graveyard, you can go.
Like my dad is buried on a mountain out probably 10 k's out of Morua up
Yeah.
north, and like it's beautiful.
Hmm.
It's actually really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to go, that's a nice hill. Oh, it happens to have some graves on it, but I'm going to go up anyway. No, no, no.
Yeah.
No, it's no. And likewise, I imagine lots of people would pass Mount Topiri on the way to Hamilton,
Yep.
State Highway 1, and then all of a
Uh-huh.
sudden be like, oh, that looks really pretty. Let's go climb up
Yeah.
it. No, no, you don't. No, no. That's a sacred space.
Yeah. Like that's
So
my
treat
mountain
it
as
as
well.
such.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
my hopefully is my mountain. Oh, well, my family is buried. So I'm like, yeah, that can be a good spot to go, but like, I don't, yeah, it's not my thing to just acknowledge where people leave. I'm like, man, if
Yeah.
you want to do that, you go for it. And she was like, okay then. And then Jason was about to go with her as well, and I was like, I mean, like, you can go. Like, who cares about us? Like, just go.
You can make a choice in this moment right now. You can
Yeah,
hear my views and my beliefs, or you could not hear them.
yeah. And like, it was funny too because we were sitting at the lighthouse, and then so there was this kitten or cat that was hiding in the grass area,
Yeah.
and then we're like, oh, talking, and Jason and his sister were like, oh, we're gonna go now. We might go. And I was like, yeah, we'll meet you in the town centre. And
Yeah.
then as soon as we said that, like a dog came into sniffing into the like grassy area, and then bang, you just see this little black cat. He just like run out, start scratching it, and the dog's like, whoa, 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 shame. And I was like, oh, like it was a cute little black and tuxedo. So
Oh, cute.
yeah,
Sassy.
uh,
Cute.
yeah, it was like. And I was like, look, there's a cat. And they're like, hey, where? I was like, in the grass. Have a look. And then they
Yeah.
seen it. And then, yeah, it was like lovable. And I was like, where do you stay? But I think it was like just a wanderer.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that's a memorable time for me in Akaroa. Every time I get to Akaroa, it's just like I went to the French Fest there with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And went there just for the sake of it and had fish and chips, ice cream. And then the funniest thing is like I make Jason buy a lot of stuff that I don't touch just for
Okay.
the sake of it. So like I'll be like, we should buy some fudge, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna eat it. I was like, yeah, I didn't touch it, and he ate it all. So I hate it when you do this. And I was like, what do you mean? And it's like, you make me buy stuff and then you don't touch it at all. I'm like, because I'm not feeling for fudge at that time.
Okay.
And yeah, and he's like, but why do you do that to me? It's like, because it's just fun. And it's like, you're evil. It's like, you're gullible. You should know that if I'm not like really interested in it, I won't touch you. But
It's
then,
our
like,
dynamic.
yeah. But yeah, it was just, and then we brought it back home to Christchurch, to Auckland, and then I still didn't touch it. He ate it all. And
I
like,
feel
what's the
like there's
problem?
a situation where Jason could totally be like, we've had this happen in the past, so as soon as I buy it, I want to see you eat it.
Yeah, just give me a piece. Like, yeah, if I don't actively just grab it, then yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
But yeah, I always do that to him anyway. Every time we go out, I'll just see something like, oh, look, there's fudge. In my head, I'm like, I really want fudge. But
Okay, now
if I don't
now I'm
crave
just
it,
thinking of fudge.
yeah.
It's too sweet for me.
Like, yeah, sometimes, like, if I'm actually craving, it's like biscuits or something
Mm.
that you really want. If you really want it and you're craving it, then yeah, fine, go for it. But if you're just walking past it at the supermarket and then you just pick it up, it's like, there's a small chance you're going to actually eat it. So,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Oh
And I
goodness.
told Jason, it's like, oh, we need some more of those like little caramello eggs and cream eggs and all that stuff. It's like, no, we don't. And it's like, yes, because now we've only got uh, 3 caramel eggs.
You've already got
And
Easter eggs.
oh no, like these things.
Okay.
And then yeah, 1 Oreo, and I don't like those flavors, so
Yeah.
probably won't touch them. And then Jason's like, "What? You didn't touch it?" It's like I wasn't feeling like I like caramello. I like cream eggs, like the really sweet, thickly sweet stuff.
Okay, you can have my super sweet ones. The
Yeah.
only ones that I really like of the eggs that are filled are like the little ones that come in the foil wrapper that have the white dots on them, and they come in like a
Mm,
plastic. long thing. I think they're called
yeah, yeah,
cuties, maybe. And they've got like a little bit of caramel on the inside, like, but it's basically one big chunk of chocolate with like the tiniest bit of caramel. I like
yeah.
those, and they've been
Yeah,
around forever, and they just, I don't know why, they just bring me joy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
goodness.
There was like one time I done a challenge with some of the kids. Like I used to help out at Maryville and Tauranga,
Yeah.
um, with like holiday programs, and I was like, "I'll give you all a challenge to see who can like eat the most
Oh.
those real shitty Easter egg, the small ones." I threw only like 21 of them, and I just like chewed, and I was like, "This chocolate is yuck." And then some
No.
kid done like 7, and I was like, it's fun in games when you think about it, but then it's like you still have to chew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have to chew the chocolate.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
these days in my elder years, I'm certainly a quality over quantity. So I'd rather have something that I'm going to really enjoy
Mm.
and I'll savor it because there's less of it, than just binging on lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like me and Jason went to a South African store, and they have like their own version of the marshmallow chocolate egg.
Okay.
I think that's the thing. And so I was like, oh, we should buy a box. And I was like, nah, don't buy a box because I'm not going to touch it. And he's like, yeah, sensible. And I was like, yeah, no, that's smart. But on
Yeah.
my behalf, it was like, yeah, I have a track record of just impulse buying and then not touching it.
And then does that mean that Jason's the one that has to eat it so it gets used? Okay.
hmm
All right.
Or yeah, there's like an off chance where I actually get I start craving it, and then I'm like, oh. But other than that, yeah,
Well, at least we live in a day and age where if you do get a craving for something, it's relatively easy to pop down to a store and they'll have it.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think I got a delivery from Timu that I have to pick up soon. Yeah,
Fair enough.
and she's been
Ooh, she's so cute. Has Cameron been over to play with her?
yeah. It was the first male other than me and Jason to meet her,
Of course he
and she
was.
like sniffed him and uh, pissed at him, bit him, scratched him,
And
and
he
like
loved every minute.
yeah, he loved every minute. Like he wouldn't like do the arch. It would be like acceptance. And she's good. She's cool with him. Like that's her first uncle, I would say.
Also, if you ever need a cat sitter, Cameron, done.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if he's in Auckland.
Oh, maybe so that's a big one too.
Yeah, if
he's
he's in the city. Yeah.
he's coming to stay here on Sunday night actually, so I'm doing a barbecue for him and some other mates that are here in the Mount.
Him and his boyfriend from USA.
Are we using that word? Are we using boyfriend?
I don't know, probably.
I
I
know.
was like, oh, no, because I invited him over for dinner last night, but he
Yeah.
like was too busy. But I invited him like 2 days ago, and then he's like, oh yeah, we can try, and I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, you can bring your boyfriend from the USA, and he's like, haha, and then he changed the subject. I was like if
Always
you're,
in
I don't
coy.
really mind. Yeah, because he was the one
Ooh.
that came last time, and they had a fling.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah. I know they have spent time here together beforehand. I
Yeah.
know Cameron had a nickname for him, but I needed to ask him what his real name was, so I would forget the nickname and not accidentally use it in front of the boyfriend.
Yeah. Because his name is Evan
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it's Evan.
Yeah.
Evan.
Yeah, and I was like, that's
Evan.
some like call me by your name type of situation. And he's like, it is. I was like, it is like, you spend a lot of time around each other and all that stuff, and then he goes back to his own country, and then it's like, yeah. And then he comes back, And thankfully, I read that book, and it was quite sweet. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I read the whole book. It took me like a couple of years, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm currently reading The Velvet Rage.
Mm.
One of my mates here at the Mount had it recommended to him to read, and when we went for a walk on Monday, we were just having a chat about it. I was like, well, if I read it too, could we like discuss it like a book group kind of thing? Because when these books about ideas and stuff, I like to chat about it and see other people's perspective. I think it's kind of cool. So I downloaded it and now I'm reading that, and I'm about 3 chapters through. I'm 20% through because I'm reading it on my Kindle, and 20%
Yeah.
through the book. So I think we'll be catching up Monday, but he'll be here on Sunday anyway for barbecue as well, so I can see how he's going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
kind of
that's
cool.
cool.
It's an interesting read. I know Robin had first spoken about it. This is the first time I heard about it was when
Mm.
Robin was mentioning it, and he had absolutely loved it. And it obviously is written from a very different perspective of like being queer running through the 70s and 80s as well. But so far, I'm finding it interesting. Don't really know how to take it yet, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm only the 5th way through, so yeah.
Mm.
I'll let you know how it
Yeah.
goes. And whether you should do a book review.
Yeah, that would be fun. I
There's
should,
lots of
yeah.
options.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I like when I first came up with the idea of doing a podcast like this. I was like, oh, we could just talk about like coming out and all that stuff, and like it's going good that aspect. But then it's like, I mean, what if I have like repeat people? Like, say if you wanted to do it again, we could do like read a book or
Absolutely.
and then review stuff or review a movie or something like that, just to keep the content.
Oh,
So like people aren't just like, they're just talking about coming out. And it was like, but everybody else's experience with that like coming out and all that is different. Like I know
yeah.
with Jason, his coming out story is gonna be like I reckon a heart wrencher for some people.
Yep.
Um
That's fair enough.
and like my friend from the first episode was like he had a real positive type of coming out type of thing.
Yeah.
Something like you. Like you yeah. You had the like, you told your mum, and then there was a period where you just didn't really talk about you
Yeah.
like the coming out phase,
But
but then it's like,
there's no violence, there's no being kicked out of home, there's no
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and like with these questions, it's like I'm not like I'll give you the base questions of what might get talked about, but then if like say with you being Mr. Bear 2019, and like there's also different questions that you can ask from like people. Well, yeah, I just don't want it to be. So like, when did you come out? Like, what would you say?
There's a
Yeah,
sash.
you should make like bring it up a bit, put some bedazzle it.
That's a good idea because right now it's been held together super glue and drawn on Sharpie. So yeah.
Yeah, or you can be a seamstress and just like
Possibly. But yeah, you have a world of options. But yeah, definitely, I think it's really important to hear different people's experiences, especially for
mm,
those people who are on the start of their own journey down that path.
mm-hmm.
Hearing that every experience is different, but I think they all
Yeah,
have the common thread of self-discovery and self-acceptance, and those are all
yeah,
lessons that anyone can take at any part, whether they're at the near that they're through the woods of that journey, or whether they're kind of starting out into that scary forest. Um, yeah,
yeah,
like it's a big thing, and those stories that have trauma in them also
mm,
help create those amazing, beautiful people that we love. So it's
yeah,
important to know. I think it's not essential that they share because it's their journey, but if someone wants to share those experiences, then that helps give insight and more kind of clarity as to who that person is by how
Yeah,
they got to where they are now.
yeah. Like, yeah, and that's my whole, like, the thing is, that's the cope up of the podcast is like, I want to know, other people want to know, like, how does, like, somebody become, how do they blossom or flourish from, like, being a little bud to, like, being the flower that they are? Like, people want to know, like, how do you, like, adjust well into, like, your own point of, like, being in the community.
Your own
Like, yeah,
authentic, realized self.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, society told me to be this, so I'm gonna be this. It's like, no, like,
Find
you can, yeah,
well-adjusted individuals that are proud with who they are
yeah,
and actively engage in positive ways with the community. Like
yeah,
stereotypes have a place, and you'll see, I think you'll find when you see a lot of, especially guys that come out a lot older in
mm,
years, that when they do actually finally come out, then they just end up parroting stereotypes from Will and Grace and Queer Eye for a Straight Guy, thinking that's what they have to be, when really it's you just be you. If
yeah,
if you want to be Jack from Will and Grace, go ahead and be Jack. If that's authentically who you are, do it.
yeah.
Absolutely. But if you're still trying to find who you are, then just take the time, however long that is, to find who you are. And if you discover at the end of that road that you are Jack from Will and Grace, great. If
Mm,
you're being authentic in it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like with my like my team leader at work, she's like, I love how you're open enough about, like, um not like my sexuality, but the person that I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Just who
like,
you are.
well, you can't really, like, yeah, with kids, there's some kids that accept it, like, oh, he's gay. So, and I'm like, um, I told some of the girls when we had girls in our kid,
Yeah.
I was like, because they were asking me like, oh, who's your partner? Like, is your partner a female or male? And I was like, I don't know. So I told them, I was like, it's whatever I want it to be. And they're like, hey. And then
Yeah.
so I had photos of Jason on my watch, and like, so here I'm gonna be hella truthful with you. Like, this is, I just don't. Sometimes it's like you don't. It's not you understanding them trying to figure out, like, oh, he's gay. There's more like I'm worried about them and how they're gonna respond to it.
Hmm.
Like,
That's also their journey though. And also in
yeah,
in a roundabout way, and this is going to sound really odd, but it was about a month ago, I had this kind of odd realization that if potentially everything that's happening right now is just your body in a box in a big robot facility, and this is all just the matrix for your benefit to stimulate you and keep you occupied.
hmm
And when you finally die, it turns out that's you just waking up from the pod. How pissed off would you be hopping up out of that pod going, oh, I just lived like 80 years and I always followed what my boss said and I always bit my tongue when I knew that I was right, rah, 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 and I wasn't actually true to myself and I sacrificed all these things and I was miserable. How pissed off would you be to be like, all of that was actually just for me?
mm.
Seriously?
yeah,
Whereas, and it was after having that, and it's kind of like a odd thought experiment, I suppose, but it made me go, actually, what if that is true? Why should I
yeah,
sacrifice myself for someone else's ego? Why should I sacrifice what I know is right for what could just be the sake of a simulation that's here just to keep me occupied? I don't know whether
mm.
you're real, but right now I am entertained and I'm loving it and it makes me feel good, so I'm engaging with this. Like, it's great.
yeah,
But likewise for those that are worried about how other people take them, well, at the end of the day, simulation or real person, you engage with it as you wish, and the easiest and most healthy way, I think, is to just be honest with your interaction. And however that a simulation or real person decides to handle that, that's their simulation / real person journey.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, they accepted it. I was like, oh, like sometimes like when you overthink it, it's like, damn, and then you say it, and it's like it comes out like perfect, and you're like, that wasn't that hard, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, yeah. So I was just like, when I told the girls that, I was like, and they're like, oh, that's mean. I have got a gay uncle. Blah blah blah. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, oh,
Absolutely.
and but in my head, I was just like, oh, are they gonna change the way that they look at me in a like, um, yeah, are they gonna respect me or not respect me? And then by the end of it, I was like, one of the kids, they were like, oh, you act like you're like my YJ uncle. Like I was like, oh, that's cool. And then so like, yeah, when she left, I stayed back and I was like, I'm gonna catch you later. You be good. Stay out of trouble. Don't come back here. And then I was like, gave her a little side hug. And then she was like, oh, catch you later. Have a good
Yeah.
day. And yeah, so she left and like, but well, the kids say they're like, oh, when they're like, I want to leave. And then when it gets to that part where they do you leave or get bailed, um, yeah, they're like, I don't want to go. I want to stay here. It's like, don't stay here. There's nothing for you in this area. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
you
think
can
also
flourish being. You go.
like kids these days are, I think they really, much more so than what maybe we did, but I feel they're more receptive to genuine
Mm,
honesty, especially in the day and age when you can get any kind of answer that you want and seek. But genuine honesty, I think it has a lot of value with them because it's quite
mm,
hard to get that,
yeah,
actually.
like yeah, if their family and that are like saying like other things, and then they ask a question to somebody that they don't know, and it's like, oh, I never seen it like that. It's like there's always two ways to see a different question.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Completely.
and it's their way. Like, and some it's weird when the adults say, "Oh, these kids don't know how to like interpret," and it's like, I mean, they won't know how to interpret something if you use massive, big jargon words that they don't know. Like
Yeah.
these kids are 14, 15, 16, some are 12 or 13, and it's like you're using like words like philosophy, philosophy or something like that, and then it's like, huh? They're like, I don't understand what you're talking
That's
about.
that's a poor communicator. It's all well and
Mm,
good having all the words in the world, but if the person you're trying to get your message across to can't receive that message, or potentially worse still, what
mm,
message they do get is translated into terms that they know, which leaves a very different message,
mm,
then that's poor communication.
yeah,
That's wrong. And adapting to an audience, especially when you're communicating with the youth,
yeah,
is really important to be able to get the message across. Otherwise,
yeah,
how can you expect them to positively engage if they don't even know what the hell you're talking about?
yeah. And like they have these psychiatrist people that come in and they talk to them and they use the big words and it's like they say, oh, they have to uh, uh, assess whether the kid can understand for them to plea in court.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but like you can also uh, change the words so that they can understand it, or explain why you said that. Like a kid's
Yeah,
not going to understand you if you're just going on about like legislations and policies of blah blah blah. But if you like not dumb it down, but like just make it a bit more easier to read.
or if you need to make sure that they can understand, then at least communicate in a way that they can understand.
Yeah, but yeah,
Translate
like
it. Yeah.
yeah these professionals are like, oh, we need to gauge if this kid can understand what might be asked in court. And I was like, yeah, they understand it all right, but it's like, yeah, if you're just going to use massive words or words that have no value to this kid, then man, like they're
And
gonna switch off.
that's the thing that I think so my experience in the family court didn't cross over too much into youth justice,
Mm.
but my experiences with the judiciary, and which may align with what you've experienced or not, but I would imagine the judges, at least when they're addressing children, will still communicate in ways that they know generally the child will understand. They adapt to the audience and address the child as a child. They don't address a child with vocabulary that only a PhD psychoanalyst would understand. Like, they use terms to communicate, and I think probably the children that are in those interactions appreciate that, because they just go, someone actually, I can understand what they're saying. But I think it's also a really important lesson, considering that that's the person that's running a courtroom, demonstrating to all the other experts and professionals of, this is who we're here to ultimately help, or to steer in directions or away from certain other directions. We need to cater to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, man. I'm all out of questions.
Well, this has been fun. I've enjoyed this. If you ever need any follow-ups or any other more information or explanation, or want to do something else, definitely let me know.
Yeah, we'll do. No, yeah, it's been awesome having you on this episode. Even
you.
just chatting in general. Like, I know that like when we're together, we don't usually talk because there's everybody else there. So
there's so many people. I think the last time when we put up, when we were at in Littleton at Civil and Naval, I really liked the time that we were there, because we were like at the end of the table just having a good chat for a while.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. But yeah, it's like, well, yeah, whenever me and you are like around, there's always like everybody. So it's like we're bouncing
and I
like off everybody.
I get distracted by things. So when there's like more than just like one source of stimulation, I'm like, oh.
It's like ADHD, but like with conversations.
I'm not diagnosed, so I cannot comment on that or not.
Yeah, neither am I. But I do feel like I have ADHD or something. Just,
I won't deny it. There's a fair few tendencies on that Guess Who board that might match me up to that, but again, haven't been diagnosed, and I'm not overly concerned at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yes. But no, this has been great. If you need anything else, fuck, it's 3:10. Oh my god, Jesus. Sorry.
Yeah, 3 hours. That's
plenty of content.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for letting me be part of this as well. This is fun, and send me a link when things are done and complete. And when the things that pop in my head of, I'll send you a link to it, of what we mentioned in this, pop back in my head, I will send you those links. Can't, and the Sabrina Carpenter thing, I'll send you links to those.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Say hi to Jason for me.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll see him tonight.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.